Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 297. Tim Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V. You moving? Looks like you're moving your desk up and away from me. What are you?
Well, these
you trying to
desks
get
are
away from me?
desks are on wheels, and I just like to, and we got kids down here and they're playing. I had to actually clean up. There was a bunch of minis on the ground right before you came because my daughter was down here and she likes to kind of mess around with my box of minis. She was like, "Can I play with these?" I'm like, "Go ahead." Like, I've got minis from back in 97, 98, and they're just sitting in a box collecting dust. So
She was impressed. She's like, "Holy cow,
like,
Dad, look at all."
Wow, Dad, look at all these free minis you got for entering all these tournaments where you didn't cash. Way to go.
Welcome, everyone. Exciting night here tonight. We are pretty much continuing with the theme that we've had for the last few weeks, and it'll probably continue for the next couple of weeks. We'll continue to sprinkle in both disc golf media guest and non-disc golf media guest, but tonight we're going a little heavy. We're going to start out with Dynamite. He's going to join us for a little while. I'm not sure, honestly, what's up his sleeve, but I think we might be taking a little trip down yesterday or yesteryear. I think he's going to go into the vault or the Wayback Machine and see what's been happening. So we'll see what he has for us in terms of previous years and events, of course, because we're not currently immersed
Hosting
in
any
or
events.
hosting any. And then we're going to catch up with Disc Golf Nerd, who's coming in from the West Coast. He's so graciously provided us with little snippets of disc golf reviews, disc reviews, and such. He does a ton of stuff on his channel, more than I know I can keep up with. So I'm actually excited to kind of figure out, because it feels like every day I see a new post of things that he's putting up on his channel. So we're going to check in with Justin over at Disc Golf Nerd. And then after we get done talking to him, we're going to stay on that West Coast. In fact, I think we officially are going to go to the Central Coast, they call it. Ian Anderson of Central Coast Disc Golf. And we'll check in with him as well. I know he's been active doing a few things, working with Mo over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But we'd love to see what he's got going on. Where his
I'm guessing it's a rewatch.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we'll be able to see what's been new or exciting, if anything, as we've been going along with this disc golf media theme for these last few weeks. So super excited to check in with some of our fellow peers and such that we usually see out in the fields, and as we all kind of reminisce about the days of old of staying up late to edit videos. And
Oh, those were the days.
oh gosh,
I never did
someday
that.
we might get back to those days. So
I don't know about that, but
we do appreciate all you guys for joining us. If you could, and I know we don't ask for it often, but as always, if you hit the like button down at the bottom, I know that helps with the YouTube algorithms. Might get more people in here to watch. It won't be quite as exciting as what I saw the other night, and it was on a rewatch. But I saw Mr. Beast, who's one of the bigger YouTubers that's out there. They hosted a YouTube-themed rock, paper, scissors tournament to raise money for charity.
Oh.
And I kind of just skimmed through it and saw, I don't remember how many millions of dollars they raised, but it was pretty cool. They were having all of these various YouTubers and influencers come in. They played rock, paper, scissors. They trimmed it all the way down to a champion and raised just an incredible amount of money. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Along the theme of fundraising, I watched a fundraiser. I forget what it was for particularly, but they were giving away, or I don't want to say giving away, auctioning off certain things. One of them was a haircut. And it wasn't just like a haircut. It was a haircut with someone who had never done a haircut before. So one guy had to get his haircut from some woman who had never cut a hair before. And I actually watched the haircut last night from the stream this weekend. How much
would you not pay for that?
How much in donations would we have to get for you to allow me to cut your hair? If I promise to try to do my best job, like I wouldn't make you look like a fool, but say someone great, if we were trying to raise funds and graciously was like, "Hey, I will give $5,000 to the charity of your choice if you let Johnny cut your hair."
Yeah, at that kind of, if it got to those kind of numbers, I would be silly to not participate.
Because this one got to $1,000. It was $1,000, and last night she showed up in a full hazmat suit, and she had never cut hair before, and it turned out fine. They did basically the fade on the side and then just longer on top, and it was interesting, but that was the big number. That was $1,000. That was $1,000 item, and let someone cut. His guy's name is Anthony Carboni. For those of you that are into Star Wars slightly heavily, he hosts the Star Wars show through Disney. He's done a lot of the red carpet stuff live for them. He's a regular Twitch streamer as well, but he also hosts one of my absolute favorite podcasts called We Have Concerns. It's a humor science-based podcast that just came back like a month ago from a 2-year hiatus. So he had his hair cut, and at one point you see him go like, "Ooh, that was a big chunk," and she's kind of like, "Yeesh," like, yeah, awkward. So how about $1,000? If someone gave us $1,000, would you let me cut your hair?
Wow,
I
don't know.
Hemming and hawing there.
I'd have to think about which charity it would have to go to. It would matter to me.
I know, charity of your choice.
Yeah, I was gonna say
$1,000.
I don't know. I have to think about that. Now, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not mad about how my hair is looking right now. So I don't feel like I need a haircut yet. 2 or 3 or 5 weeks from now might be a different story. So maybe we'll revisit.
I'm getting a little thick along the sides, which is starting to poof out. The top I'm okay with. The sides are just getting a little bit unwieldy, personally. But I don't know, man.
I think some of the best hair in disc golf, facial or otherwise, is going to join us now as we welcome to the show after a couple weeks hiatus, Dana Vicich. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, do you wax that, or is it just natural?
Oh, so many looks.
Johnny, that's a good question. So this left side is natural. It curls up, but I sleep on my right side. So the right side is usually a little droopy. So I'm not all that symmetrical here, but yeah, this left side curl is natural.
Natural. All right. So the question goes to you, Dana. How much do you have a lower price point? I mean, you do a lot of different things with your hair. If I said, "Hey, for $1,000, someone's going to donate $1,000 to the charity of your choice," would you let me or Terry cut your hair?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And your hair seems to grow relatively fast, and you've done a lot of different things with it in general. So
very fast. My hair grows very fast, and before this whole thing went down, like literally a week or two before, my electric razor went down. And then, a couple weeks in, all, people are buying razors, because they're not getting haircuts. And
I just bought one
that I've always used is out of stock. And so I just I had to shave my beard with like a razor, like not an electric one. It was not very pleasant. But I just got a new razor in today, and so cleaned up my sideburns that were very uneven. But whatever. But so I'm feeling good about myself now.
Yeah, I ordered a razor last week from Amazon Prime, and it was supposed to be like usually overnight, but as razors are these days, I think it arrived at my office today. So I'm gonna attempt to give my son a haircut sometime this weekend. We're gonna see how that goes. It's gonna be he's all for it. He's good with that. He doesn't really care.
Wow.
We'll see.
Right.
We'll see what it's like afterwards. But
yeah.
Worst case scenario, you just number 2, man.
All the way across.
Yep.
So Dynamite, it's been a couple of weeks. Glad to have you back. And last time you were with us during this pandemic, we kind of took a trip down memory lane, thinking about previous events taking place in April, the month of April. You had a few quizzes and ideas from back then. Did you go research some older events, or what do you got for us tonight?
Yeah. Popped the Wayback Machine on and headed to the year 2005, and we're going to the great disc golf state of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, for the National Tour Elite Series 21st Dogwood Crosstown Classic. So this was an NT event. Terry, we're talking 2005 NT.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the names you're expecting to see up towards the top on the MPO side?
I mean, that's
Michael Joe. That's a little early, but it's North Carolina. I have to assume he's probably a contender around there.
Yeah.
Climo.
Possibly. I don't know if Climo was traveling over there.
I mean, it's North Carolina. It's not too far from
I know,
Florida, so
Yeah, but I don't know if we'd see him there.
Schweberger.
has to come to mind. I don't know if we would see a Larry Leonard or a Walt Snoop Haney, but those are a couple names from that neck of the woods that I would think to throw out.
That Barry could be on that list because he was kind of just starting, not just starting, but he was
wasn't
touring.
down there yet.
But he was touring, and it's a
correct.
national tour.
So he might be in that neck of the woods at the time. I think I'd love to say Cam Todd, but I feel like by then he may have already,
Taken his hiatus,
some time off. Of course, Nate Doss went on to win Worlds, but he was, practically still in high school at the time, so I don't think he would have been over there. But that was the year that he won his first Worlds.
We're seeing Brad Hammock on the board.
Brad
that could
Hammock would be a great name to throw out there. And
what about a young Am World champion from North Carolina?
Like Jeremy Colling?
A JJ, a Justin Jernigan, who won in 2004, the year before, in Des Moines, Iowa. So
yeah, because Colling was a little later than that.
Yeah, Colling didn't come on. Colling won in 2008.
2008, yeah.
And we've
Yep.
had him around ever since. So a JJ comes to mind. And MTL was there probably on the bag, definitely not winning or we love you, MTL, but
give me a couple minutes to scroll down to the bottom of the 64 person MPO division. Well, let's get into the MPO side.
Okay.
This was a 3-round national tour, and winning the event after the first round was one of your guesses, guys, Barry Schultz. Barry and Justin Jernigan popped off some really hot, rated round one rated rounds at 10:56. So pretty smoking, and they kept the pedal to the metal from there. But before I move on to the second round, I got to say, Mitch Sonderfan was right there on the lead card after the first round, shooting a 45, one throw off the lead. Mitch Sonderfan, a loved disc golfer from out east, and now resides in the great state of Colorado. Shout out to Mitch. But so it was a Brad Hammock, a Barry Schultz, Justin Jernigan showdown. So they both popped off 44s, smoking hot rounds. Justin Jernigan went on to pop off a 47 to Barry's 49 in round two. And that 47 was 10:29 rated and nowhere near Brad Hammock's 42. So Hammock popped off a 42, little 1080 action. Next best was a 44, and that was Larry Leonard. Larry Leonard, the legend from North Carolina. He shot a 44 that round, but no one else was really close other than Larry. And so Brad shot himself all the way up to the top. And it was one round to go from there, and it was quite a battle. And Barry, Brad, they both shot pretty good final rounds. Barry tried to hunt him down, shooting a 47, 10:34 to Brad's 49, but Brad was able to win by one. Justin Jernigan finished in a tie for second, shooting a 50. So solid shooting by the first-year pro there. Alexi Boobs, tied for fourth with the champ, Ken Climo. I'm just going to run through this top 10 because we got a ton of legends that names don't always pop up here on Smashbox. Brian McRae, he toured with Schwebe back in the day, North Carolina guy. Finished in sixth, tied with Walt Haney, another North Carolinian. Schwebe finished in eighth. Dave Felberg and Larry Leonard rounded out the top 10 in ninth. So kind of a who's who of badasses from North Carolina, along with some other disc golf legends there.
Yeah, and it's funny to think about those names. Well, and be able to place the location, the names, like that was the epicenter of disc golf. I mean, of course, North Carolina was, but I'm just saying those were the names that we were seeing every weekend. That's what I'm really trying to spit out in a long-winded way. Every weekend, so many of those competitors, and then I even think about a Dave Felberg and Avery Jenkins. As they've been on tour, and Al Shack, a Todd Branch, those types, when they're in the mix with the Winnie crew, it's pretty incredible to think back to. As some people are saying on the board, that's so long ago. that was our pulse of disc golf at the time.
Yep, 15 years ago.
Feel old.
And before I move on to the other divisions, which had some absolute legends playing in them, I got to give a big hug to the first out of cash boys, Shore Solang and Jason Cutland, finished in a tie for 27th, a stick outside of the cash line. So big hug to my two friends right there. And on the FPO side, what do you guys think? I mean,
Des.
2005.
That's prime Des. Maybe early Val. That might be too early for Val even. Late Juliana. I feel like Elaine King probably in there.
Yeah, and Elaine.
Maybe
was gonna say
Annie Kreml.
Possibly. I don't know.
She did a little bit of touring.
Yeah, I don't know if she would have been over there. I think of maybe like an Angela Chigfry, if she was, if that was. I know that was kind of the era. I don't know if she was down there traveling for something like that.
If you didn't mention Cam, probably not Leslie.
Yeah.
Maybe a Sue Stevens.
Maybe? Possibly. And then what about an Amy? Not Amy. I'm driving. It's gonna drive me crazy. She was right around like Player of the Year.
Sarah Stanhope, maybe.
She would be possibly in the mix there.
We would have a Sarah in the event. Not Stanhope. Sarah DeMar from Michigan was there.
Yep, okay. And then I can think of her face, and I cannot picture her name. She has not played much since she was really involved from like Virginia or West Virginia, somewhere over there.
Oh, I know.
Nah, it's gonna drive me crazy. But anyway,
Dude, so good. There's some gamers out of Virginia.
Yeah,
FBOs.
What do we got there, Dana?
All right, so we have some legends of the game. Des, Juliana Korver, they went 1-2. And Des did so with a not so hot first round. She shot a 66, which was 909 rated, and Juliana shot a 60, 962. But beating both of them was Valerie Jenkins, shooting a 58, 979 rated round. Val in 2005, 912 rated. So I think she's probably anywhere in between the 50s and 70s over these last few years. So Val Jenkins, 912 rated.
She'd have been like 20 years old at that point, somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
Winning a national tour and winning it by a couple throws over Juliana and quite a few over the rest of the field. But unfortunately, the second round rolled along, and with that, Des Redding turned it on, shooting a 1019, wow. 54. Next best was a 62 by JK. Juliana Korver and Val ended up shooting a 65. So Des just went ham and completely smashed it, shooting a 1019 rated. Just a killer round. Moving on, final round, she was down by 1 to Juliana and beat her by 3 throws. So Des beat Juliana by 3 throws, 54-57 that final round to win by a couple sticks. And finishing in third was the young Valerie Jenkins. Fourth place, Carrie Burl Burlager. And 5th place, Courtney Peavy.
Ah, yeah, that one. That's an obvious one that we missed.
Yeah, but first out of cash, I'll give her a big hug too. Leslie DeMark. I think she's got a different last name now.
Hmm.
Anyone know her
So.
new last name? Leslie DeMark.
Brinster?
Ah, that would be it. Leslie Brinster, 15638. Total joy to hang out with. Love Leslie.
Love the Sparks.
But yeah, so that was the 21st Dogwood Classic. Winning the Masters side, we had Bobby Evans beating Chris Heisel. Chris from Virginia used to play just an unbelievable amount of events. John Bisco finishing in 3rd. And then name that I feel like we don't see anymore. Peter Shive. Winning the senior grandmasters. I don't know. That guy's got to have like a million wins.
Yeah, a million world championships, if I'm correct. Didn't he dominate like senior grandmasters for like 10 plus years?
For like 40 years. Yeah, and kind of surprising. Funny you say that. Peter Shive has 105 wins and has not been current. Last expired in 2016 was the last time that he was current. So that is pretty crazy because you saw him at every Worlds, of course, like we just said, racked up 105 career wins. So that says something about how much he played and how successful he was. Granted, they usually were smaller divisions, but when he did, it didn't matter. Whoever was in his division, he dominated.
Yeah. I want to say, wasn't he a huge advocate for starting like a senior tour?
And I think having the 5-year breaks and a lot of those things. And I remember when he got on the PDGA board, there was always a discussion of that was one of the loudest discussions that I felt happened in recent years of potential conflicts of interest. And I think he actually withdrew from being on Team Innova because he wanted to not have that conflict of interest in any way, shape, or form while serving on the PDGA board. But I think that's a whole nother potential podcast for another day.
Sure. But yeah, he won a lot of events. PDJ 7240. Unfortunately, can't see his stats from over the years. As Terry said, has not been current since 2016. And speaking of legends, we're going to jump over to the year 2010. And we're talking Tim Slensky, United States Masters Championship. By Terry and I's pre-show math, we do believe this was the first U.S. Masters Championship, Tim Slensky U.S. Masters Championship. This particular version was down at the IDGC tournament director, Brian Graham. Some of you may remember him from the PDGA.
Just celebrated a birthday a couple days ago. Happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian. Hope you are well. On the Masters, there was no MPO side. This wasn't a Masters division. Now, if anyone has followed the Tim Slensky Masters Championship since 2010 or so, you'll know that one person in particular really loves to dominate this. He just elevates and steps it up for his good friend. But this has got a ton of legends in the game. The champ, Brad Hammock, Jay Redding, Phil Arthur, Brian McRae, Jim Oates, Barry Schultz, Patrick Brown, a young Patrick Brown. Can I say that?
No.
But it was a young Patrick Brown that came out round 1 and destroyed the course, shooting 47. They were at the IDGC. I don't know if I can look at doesn't look like they have the information on the round ratings, but he shot a 47 to Barry's 49. They were the only 2 players under the 50 mark. So pretty smoking rounds. They followed up with strong round 2s. Round 3 is where we saw Barry and Patrick kind of separate and then come back together during that 4th round, and they actually finished the event tied for first place. Barry beat Patrick by 2 throws during that final round, and so they're both at 230 after 4 rounds. Ken Climo was in 3rd place, 3 throws behind, and Brad Hammock in 4th, 6 throws behind. So pretty tight match. Ultimately, it was Barry beating the young Patrick Brown and getting himself a major title at the Tim Slunsky United States Masters.
I remember
Championship.
that, as you mentioned, Barry being a very good friend of Tim, and how excited Barry was for that particular win. The first year it was named that, and then him getting the win. It was quite a story.
Yeah, and I wish I knew off the top of my head how many of these Barry has won over the years, but it's been almost all of them.
I'm gonna say it's either 5 or 6. It's
Is it
more
that many?
than 4.
I thought it was 4, but
it's probably 5 or 6. I'm sure a search could tell us exactly that, or some super smart keyboard person out in the Smashy world. But yeah, it's got to be at least 5 or 6.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But I know we're running short on time. I've got one more quick event I'm going to run through. It's a recent one. Kind of ties in with one of your later guests. This is the challenge at Goat Hill Park, driven by Inema. Ran by our good friend, Alan Risley. Of course, that's AJ Risley, Risley's father. 72 total players. This was an A-tier event, and this was kind of a coming out party for one particular MPO player. But we had some heavy hitters at this event. Of course, all the California players. We had a portion of the tour going there. I want to say a portion of the tour went to another event, but with the likes of Kevin Jones, Seppo Payu, Eric Oakley. California-wise, we had Max Nichols, Bobby Music, Super Dave, Nick Newton. But it was a new face on tour, Thomas Gilbert from Canada. Hey. Rated 995 at the time, and he was just kind of getting out there and playing, and found himself at the Goat Hill Challenge. I think he was touring with AJ at the time. Kind of hopped in AJ's car, and Thomas came out and played some really solid disc golf. I don't think there was a point where he was not winning. He was the only player to stay in the 50s during this 3-round event. Going 1049, 1042, 1035. Finishing in second was Seppo Payu, playing some really good disc golf. I feel like he might have had some putting problems at that event, which, if you know Seppo, that can be his Achilles heel, because he's one of the purest, best throwers in the game. No joke. Finishing in third place, hometown boy AJ Risley, tied with Kevin Jones. So that was the challenge at Goat Hill. We of course had an FPO side, and it was kind of a lopsided victory. Jennifer Allen. Sorry, Terry.
I was so excited. I was thinking about I was just thinking about you did it, and we'll have to have Alan or we'll talk to when we talk to Ian out on the golf course. Did these 2 longest throwers at the tournament have any distinct advantage, as I think about Thomas Gilbert and as I thought about Jennifer Allen? First, I've tied those all together probably permanently, at least at that event, as okay. I would, most people would have no chance maybe at some of that, some of those distances when presented with that much length out on those golf courses.
Now, I've got to mention Jen Allen, 1,001 rated first round, 959 rated second round, 973 rated final round. So she dominated, played really well. The field wasn't super strong, but if she played like she did, she most likely would have won anyways, because she won by 39 throws.
Adequate.
She's yep, and I'm sure that's we've both seen some footage and know enough that that's a long course, and that's where she feasts. So she played really well. Thomas Gilbert, huge win, A-tier win. That's not something that every player will ever do, especially when you see a lot of the young and up and coming pros just hop right on tour, and it's really difficult to win on tour. And Thomas Gilbert did it last year in 2019 at the Goat Hill Challenge, or the challenge at Goat Hill Park, excuse me.
Yeah, and I think and again, whether it's through Alan, through the board, who I believe is out there now, or check in with Ian. We'll see. I know that there's a conversation that's continuing about trying to find any way to get the challenge at Goat Hill on the map, or on the schedule, I should say, for this year. It currently is on the schedule. It may have even been scheduled for this weekend or last weekend or something like that, or some right around now. And if it gets pushed back, is there a way that it could still get incorporated with the tour as it picks back up here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks to month or two? I know Alan has been very vocal about that, so maybe we'll get a few more details on it. So hopefully we can find a way to visit there, as I know it was at least a stop as part of the Silver Series, and we'll see if that can get factored in to possibly seeing some Goat Hill action here in 2020.
Yeah, that would be great. I know he's been busy hustling fundraiser discs. He's had some really cool ones, so make sure you search out Alan Risley. He's got some cool fundraisers. I know my time's almost up, but I did want to bring up, because it is something that kind of ties in with me. But what do you guys think about that disc golf park announcement today? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I saw that. It looked like I'm. Can you pronounce the name of the island? Is it Ale?
No, it's I believe it's Oland.
Oland
is
okay.
the pronounced like Oland.
Oland.
So it's an island in between Sweden and Finland. 30,000 people, roughly. A number of islands, I believe, but 30,000 people. And Johnny, what are they doing there?
Did I see 17 disc golf courses are going to be put in this summer alone?
16 disc golf courses are going to be put in on these islands.
I think I saw, I'm going to get all the numbers wrong, 11 or 12 of them are 9-hole courses, and then there's going to be 4 or 5 18-hole courses. Is that correct?
I don't know the breakdown off the top of my head, just that it's going to be a mix of courses. 16 in total. I thought I read that it was a mix of 18 and 9-hole courses. They'll all, share a similar feeling, but be able to stand alone is the quote. But
I don't even care about the 9-hole course option. Like, I want to go play them all, because when you have that many courses that close to each other, who cares if it's 9 or 18? I mean, you can finish up with a 9 and you're probably 5 minutes away from another 9.
Well, we know that Avery is going to be there in a heartbeat.
Avery counts those as 3-hole courses.
I'll admit I saw the headline. I did not get a chance to click on it today, so I'll have to go back. I saw the main point was I saw something about 16 courses that obviously look like in close proximity, so I'm interested to hear more about it. And they're bringing you in, Dana, right? They're bringing you in, correct, Dana? Like, your disc golf park's #1 designer.
I was on my way. But
COVID,
COVID-19, it's got me stuck in Manuka.
And that's all you. Is that all UC's doing? Like up and down 100%, or is he being brought in from another outside?
This is all a disc golf park, so I'm not sure. Who the lead. I don't know who if UC was the lead. I would guess he was likely the lead, but I know that we've got, I think, at least three designers down there.
Yeah, I would think so.
And designing courses right now. I don't know if UC will be designing any of them or not. That'd be kind of cool if he came in and did the big championship, but Pasi Koivu is out there along with, I think, Erno and Ayuho. So
awesome. Well, that's very exciting news.
Looks great.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly that's where we need to have the World Championships, I'm sure.
For like the next 6 years.
Yeah, we got plenty of courses to choose from. All right, Dynamite. So two quick points before we let you go. Thanks to your super sleuthing tonight. First off, by my account, when I quickly go to head over to Barry Schultz's page and I go to the wins category, I just hit Control F and typed in Tim, and it popped up 7 different times. So I count 7 wins at that event in the 9 years that we've referenced here. So as we've all said, very special and obviously a dominant player. He is in general, but specifically at that event, he really seems to shine through and play really well for his good friend in Tim Selinsky. And then because all Masters lives matter and he's fresh on the scene, I'm getting blown up by Steve Rico. So I think I get a special plug by just saying Steve Rico, Steve Rico, Steve Rico. And we'll see if he's a master. Yeah, I'm cashing that check after that third.
Is Murder Mike sending you? Is he Venmoing you right now for Steve?
Actually, when you say that 3 times, Murder Mike does a full body tattoo. Yeah. So that's what's next. You're
on Steve Rico.
No, on you. Sorry, you said it.
Yeah.
So that's
okay for charity.
For charity. I do want to say before we let you go, special shout out and thanks. I don't know if we've talked to you since we had your wife on the show. So thank you very much for Ashley for stepping in and doing the.
She embarrassed me.
Not too bad.
No, as usual, she kind of brings up the overall talent level over at that household.
Yeah, if there's a scale, you're higher up on the scale because she's bringing the heat,
the average up, thanks to her.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. We're great hearing from you again. Keep safe, you and the family. I think you're going to have some exciting stuff and announcements that maybe will be a Smashbox exclusive here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to everything you got going on, and love to the family.
All right. Peace, boys. Have a good... Hey, T-Dog, beard looking really nice.
Appreciate that. I'm working on it.
Glad y'all got to see me.
All right.
See you later, Dana.
Good night, Dynamite. All right, Dana Vicich joining us. We're going to see if we can get, in just a few moments here now, we'll transition over to having Disc Golf Nerd join us. And it's been a while since we've talked. Have we talked to him during the regular or after show? I feel like it was a little while. Well, it's been a little while, but we continue to see his segments jumping in on our show. So we'll have to see what he's got going on and how he's keeping busy out there. Sorry, we're going to see if it looks like he's just about ready in just a moment.
We just double check our audio.
And like we said, we're going to be all media tonight. We go from Dynamite to Disc Golf Nerd over to Ian Anderson. So jam-packed night with lots of good action. Then we'll get to some other stuff a little bit later on.
All right, here we go.
And Johnny is getting things ready as I was just perusing. Holy cow. Perusing down all of the countless uploads that have come in.
Are you ready?
And I'm ready if he is. Justin, you ready?
He looks ready to me. Let's bring him in.
All right. Welcome to the show, Mr. Disc Golf Nerd himself. How are we doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hear you loud and
us?
clear. It's great.
Excellent. Yeah, I gotcha.
All right. Not much, man. Just, like we've been talking for these last few weeks, checking in with other content creators, whether it's live, post-produced, and everything in between. Everybody's trying to find ways to not just stay busy, but then also entertain and fulfill our people that are watching, our constituents, so to speak. How you been?
Man, it's been crazy. It all kind of snuck up on me. I was already out of work leading into this situation.
Okay.
So I am extra out of work now, especially since I'm a restaurant guy for the last 10 years or so. I've been in kitchens and stuff. So not a great industry right now, but yeah, I mean, pretty much just trying to stay busy, trying to keep our head on straight. Hasn't been the easiest few months by any means, but hopefully it seems like things are starting to kind of get back on track a little bit.
Yeah, and we continue to talk about here every week as to the parts of not only the country, but then the courses, the sanctioning, the tournaments, all of that stuff is just slowly, I don't want to say just reopening, but it's all slowly transitioning until we kind of figure out when and where we're going to all land on our feet. But,
right.
One of the things that, with regards to your content that we see out on YouTube is that you're not so much a shot-by-shot or a hole-by-hole coverage kind of guy. Talk a little bit about what your channel is, and then maybe how you're different from, we'll say, some of our other disc golf content channels.
Sure. Right. Yeah, I'm definitely not dependent on any type of pro golf to go down for me to be able to do what I do. I mean, I been doing it for a long time now, and I've done a lot of different things. I've tried to keep it fresh, and keep trying different things to see what sticks, see what people like, and that sort of thing. But the main focus around the channel, from my perspective, is I try to do instructional stuff to help out mostly beginners and newer players, since I think that's probably what I'm best suited for. Because I'm not, I'm not Simon, I'm not Eagle or whatever. Nobody needs to be learning how to throw from me. But I can help them like basic disc selection and what to throw here and how to build a bag and that side of things. So I try to do that, and then also the disc reviews have just been kind of taken over my life over the last few years, keeping it rolling. I think I'm sitting at around 240 or so individual disc reviews right now, which is kind of absurd. I couldn't name them all to save my life. People will ask me, "Oh, hey, have you ever reviewed this disc or that disc?" Unless it's something obvious, like, I don't know, Google it, man.
Some of them are probably out of production now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have been going back and revisiting some older molds too, because the propensity is always like, oh, there's some new fresh thing or something like that. But there's so many great discs out there, and stuff that I haven't tried, or stuff that doesn't really get the same press. Like I reviewed the Fuse. I did a quick review on a Star Wraith that's getting like more views than anything else I've put out lately. So I'm kind of trying to go back and revisit some older molds or just fun discs and stuff. And yeah, it's become kind of a crazy thing. And at this point, I'm just collecting them. I just kind of want to see what kind of preposterous number I can get to in terms of, can I get to 500 reviews or whatever that is. But yeah, I thought 100 was a lot. I've doubled that now. So.
Well, when you were getting started with your channel, like what was some of the thought process that went through your head as to, okay, here's what my channel is going to focus on? I mean, and there's a lot of people starting channels right now, maybe more than ever because they've had more time, and that's not just in disc golf, but that's everywhere within YouTube and content creation. When you sat down, what was it? What influenced you, and what did you think, what? Here's the direction I want my channel to go. What was part of that? Walk us through that thought process.
Right. Well, it's funny you say that too, because I've been getting like a bunch of messages from people who are, starting a channel and looking for advice and stuff. I don't know if you're getting similar messages from folks.
Oh yeah.
Asking me about fancy equipment I have no idea about and stuff like that. But yeah, it was weird because my channel is old. I've been doing it for a really long time. I don't know exactly how old it is, but I know it predates a lot of the media that's out there. And I think originally I just made an in the bag video. That was basically like all we really had in those days. We had the Discraft Clinic videos. We had some like Clash stuff that was, I think Bill used to put certain, edits out on YouTube and stuff. I'm not sure how all that worked, and Disc Golf Monthly and stuff like that was out, but it wasn't a lot. So I made an in the bag video, and then I was surprised that people seemed to watch it. And I started getting like a few subscribers, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And I started to try to make some content, basically explaining concepts that I didn't understand when I was starting out, like what the difference is between an understable and an overstable disc, and how to know what the disc is going to do, how to like put together a bag, and like those kind of basic concepts that I didn't really understand at the time. What's the difference between a 150 class and a max weight, or all that kind of basics. So I put out that stuff, and then people still were watching and consuming that, and that was cool. And then I think the disc reviews was a conscious decision. Basically, like I knew that would be essentially an unlimited source of things that I could make. There's so many discs out there. I mean, like I said, I've done 240 or so at this point, and I could still rattle off 20 discs off the top of my head that I have not reviewed easily. So there's so many out there that I was just like, you know what, this is a good way to make content that I know I can provide like a steady flow with. And for a while I've done that. I went, I think at least a full year posting every Friday a new review or close to it. And now I let some weeks slip in there, just trying to keep the flow going and not put everything out right away. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy. And then I've tried a little bit of everything else in between too. Like I have a little podcast that I mess around with. That's fun, and I've actually done maybe 70 episodes of that
Hmm.
or so, somewhere in there. And then I like to do disc dyeing videos and really anything else I can kind of think of that would be fun to mess around with. Recently, I just did a top five video, kind of rattling off some pet peeves, internet distance, and
Yeah.
stuff that annoys me about disc golf, and that got a bunch of views. So I don't know, I'm just trying to figure it out really, and just make stuff that people want to watch at this point. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep going and see what might happen. I'm really
Yeah.
kind of sick of the kitchen jobs and stuff, and I love disc golf, and I want to be a part of it. And I'm hoping that maybe if I just kind of keep rolling with this thing, maybe something can happen, and it can be something I could do, more on a full-time basis.
Well, it's funny because you and I were joking a couple weeks ago about kind of the disc review common phrases that people use, like feels good in the hand and
Yeah.
things like that. But to have someone who has reviewed this many discs, it's not so much of repetition as it is consistency. Knowing that if you listen to one of Disc Golf Nerd's reviews and he says, okay, this is stable, then you're going to have
can base that on
you're
what
going to
he's-
base that on other discs as you go forward, as opposed to watching Simon throw a P2 or a PD2 straight as an arrow when for everybody else it's
Yeah.
a meat hook.
Yeah. Do you find?
Yeah, it's all.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's all extremely relative too. It's not like
Yeah.
Sometimes I almost feel like I'm not sure why I do them, because like if I throw a disc and then if even just some of my friends that throw different than me throw it, it behaves differently. So that's why I try to focus more on like kind of like if your buddy was like, hey, check out this disc and what is it like? That kind of thing. So I show you how it feels. I like to put it side by side with other discs, and there's definitely a lot of comparing with other discs people might be familiar with, because that's like the easiest way to provide kind of a baseline, is to say, hey, it's a little bit less stable than this or that disc, or this one seems to have more glide, or whatever the different thing is. But it's funny because it could be totally different based on who you are. And I remember being confused about that when I started out, like watching in the bag videos and the disc that a pro would be like, oh, this is my understable disc. Now I'd get out and try it, and I wouldn't have that same experience. What Paul Macbeth considers to be a flippy driver is probably just right for me, obviously.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, it's funny, but I try to go more on like, if you don't have a local shop or if your buddy doesn't have one, I can give you an idea of what to expect, but it's going to take you buying it and trying it out, to see.
Do you find that either you're very consistent with your verbiage, or are you always trying to find new adjectives to describe stuff? And I guess what I mean is, do you intentionally use similar terms and words for you, so that if I watched a video from you from 3 years ago and I watched a video from you today, that I would be able to pick up the exact same reference points, because you've been consistent? Or do you feel like you're always just trying to find different ways to describe things?
It's tough. It's probably a little bit of both, because like we talked about with the cliches.
Yeah.
It holds any line.
Feels good in the
great,
hand.
Great in the hand. I love
Clean
the feel in the hand.
release. Clean release.
Yeah, it comes out of the hand clean, no wobble, or the plastic is super grippy, or there's so many different things. So I try not to sound like a broken record, but I think I joked on the board last week too. It's like, I don't know why people even bother watching certain reviews. Like if I'm reviewing a Firebird or a Machete or something, just assume the thing goes left. What else am I going to say about it?
Yeah.
All I can really do is be like, it's a little bit less stable than this thing, or it's a little more stable than this, or something like that. And I like to also try to extrapolate. I at least have the knowledge base to be able to say, this is what it did for me and my other throwers that I use. And lately I've been trying to use two different throwers as well as myself for a lot of the reviews when possible. Shout out to my buddies Andy and James for helping me out, and my buddy Anthony helps me film, and all those guys. But I also try to extrapolate, like if you're a brand new beginner, it should do this, or you can kind of expect more of this flight, or if you have a bigger arm, I would expect this to be much straighter, than it is for me. So I try to kind of balance that stuff out. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap and cliche in there, and it gets a little silly sometimes where I'm just like, man, am I just saying the same things over and over again?
Well,
But that's also part of the market, is because we have so much overlap, and all the different companies are trying to fill in all those gaps. So everybody wants to have the Firebird in their lineup. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that too.
Now, do you um do you get excited about new releases more or less than other players, than we'll say sponsored players, or just the market in general? Are you like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for such and such company to come out with a disc that supposedly does this? Do you get really excited about those, or are you like, okay, that's cool, once something hits the shelves, I'll take it and I'll review it? Like, where's your excitement level? Do you get excited about any discs anymore?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm still being surprised by discs. I'm still finding new discs that break into my bag, to be honest. I just, like I said, I tested the Fuse, and I never tried that, but I heard so much about it. And it's funny too how discs kind of come in and out of style too. Like we've seen the Fuse kind of pop up again. The Wraith all of a sudden is kind of back in style and stuff like that. But I'm still getting surprised by stuff. I still think that the market has more room to get better. Like, I still think everybody's putting out better and better plastic over time. But I don't really feel like, oh, there's some disc that's really missing that I would love for it to come out. But I do get excited, depending on what it is. Especially if it's like an exciting new plastic for one of my favorite discs or something like that, a new variation that I could try. I'm always, happy about that. And throughout the time doing reviews as well, like, I will get discs that just kind of break into my bag over time, and it switches around, and the disc wasn't on my radar personally at all. It was just something I tested for review, and I couldn't deny that it worked really well.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is what was the last disc that you reviewed that made it to your bag?
Probably the Fuse right now, and I dabble as well. There are times where I like a disc and I feel like it merits more testing, so I'll put it in for another few rounds, or I'll try putting with something different exclusively for a full round and see where that gets me. And I'm not afraid to do that. And at this point, I've tested so many different discs. Like, if somebody asked me the other day, what's a disc you couldn't live without, or you wouldn't, you can't play without, that doesn't exist. There's so many discs out there. Narrowing it down is more the issue, as far as I'm concerned. Is more like figuring out which is which. But yeah, I think the Fuse is the last one to break into my bag. I'll definitely some Latitude stuff. The Discmania Link is the first Discmania disc to break into my bag as well. It's just a really great disc.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, have you ever had someone, and I would imagine with maybe a little bit of aggression, has anybody ever come back to one of your disc reviews and been upset, been frustrated, ticked off, said, I just wasted $17 because you said this disc did this, and it didn't work for me that way? Have you had any real, people contest you with what you've posted? Has anybody ever gotten worked up?
That's a good question. I know that there's definitely times where people will post comments that are kind of contrary to what I said, or just report their own kind of experience that's contrary to what I said or whatever.
And you're like, that's cool, they're wrong. I mean, they haven't reviewed as many discs as I have.
The other thing is, I'm all too aware that discs are individuals, and I try to represent that best I can. Yeah. Because it's not as cut and dry as you take a stack off the shelf and every single one of them is going to be the same thing. That's another kind of big thing that I think a lot of players don't understand, is that same plastic, same weight, same everything, it can still fly different depending on other factors. So I mean, there's definitely some room in there for that now. I think that was probably a bigger issue years ago, when I would just do them like tabletop style and really just to describe my experience. But now that I'm showing the throwing footage out there, it's kind of hard to dispute, video evidence of me throwing it and maybe one or two other guys throwing it. If it's flying straight for us, or it's holding turnovers for us, I mean, you kind of can't tell me that wasn't true if you can see it in the video. But I must say, like, throughout my channel, I've always been like blown away by how positive my viewer base is overall. It's unbelievable, really. In terms of YouTube, the percentage of nice and like constructive comments to negative ones is incredible. It really is. And I don't know if it's testament to the disc golf community in general, because I've dabbled with like music videos and stuff like that, and musicians are not nearly as friendly, it seems.
Well, what I'll say to that though is, I think the reason why you're clearly doing a good job, but you're providing a service to people and potentially saving them money. And maybe that's a simplistic way of looking at it, but when you're out there and you're with your own free time and will, you're putting out a disc review, somebody can see that. And now it might interest them, and that's fine. It might pick, their interest. But you go out there and you talk about a particular disc, somebody can be like, yep, saw the review. Oh, yeah, I have no use for anything even remotely like that. I'm not wasting $10 or $12 or $16 or $18 on it. So I could certainly see how people, I mean, that you're such a huge asset for that reason, that you're just providing a great service to people. And, maybe they find 3 videos in, they're like, well, I haven't agreed with anything he said, and maybe they don't watch anymore after that, and they continue on their merry way. I doubt it, but you're just, it's such an asset so that people have some idea right off the bat. And like you said, you continue to get these discs. So if you're keeping up, somebody's always coming into the market, and it doesn't even have to be the newest disc. It can be, hey, oh yeah, my buddy's been talking about this fuse. I wonder if there's anything about it online, and then they go back and find what somebody's done as a review on it. So I feel like in some sense they're timeless. What's not maybe timeless, I have to ask you on. So I see under your about section, you started in 2010. So to answer your own question or thought, it was November of 2010, and which is the same year my disc golf guy one started in January. But once you got to a certain point, you could name your channel after so many subscribers. Right. I think a custom name. And interestingly enough, you know what your channel name is, right?
Yeah.
It's your login, and we can share it with everyone, but it's YouTube/Discraft and Innova. Is that a timestamp of where disc golf was in 2010? And do you regret it?
I mean, well, it doesn't really matter at this point, because I've rebranded as the Disc Golf Nerd so long ago now, and like such a huge percentage of my views and subscribers have been after that point. But that literally was just because like I said, I posted an in the bag video. That's what I had in the bag video, and I just kind of made it that. I don't even know, but yeah, like that's one of those things you couldn't make your channel name that now. Sure.
I know.
Anything like that would be taken at this point. But yeah, that's honestly why I made the switch to calling it. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
That's honestly why I made the switch to calling it Disc Golf Nerd and trying to rename it, is because I started throwing other stuff. There was all these new companies, and I tried Latitude and I tried MVP, and I was throwing different things, and I'm like, man, I can't keep calling this channel just that.
Disc Golf and Innova and Gateway and Latitude and Dynamic and Prodigy. And
Exactly. But I mean, honestly, when this channel started, 2010, that's pretty much what we had. We had Discraft, we had Innova, and I remember the big move in those days was you threw buzzes, or of course rocks, but a lot of guys threw buzzes and wasps and stuff, and then they would throw Innova drivers, T-birds, that kind of eagles,
Valkyries,
that sort of thing,
eagles, banshees,
and then you putted wizards. That was a very common.
I was gonna say, has he looked in my bag? Because my bag's from 2010. Literally, I think the bag is from 2010. But that's very, very similar. My mid-range, my mid-ranges are all Discraft. My drivers, for a long time, were all Innova. I now have a DD and a Discraft driver in there, and I'm on DD putters right now. But it's very indicative.
I think it was because I actually switched to all Discraft at one point. I think that might be why I switched it, because I was like, I can't have this say end Innova if all of my in the bags and all these videos I'm posting are all Discraft stuff. Because it's funny too. I was just listening back to an old podcast I recorded a few years ago in 2017. It was right around the time that Val switched to Discraft, and I was like kind of ranting about how they had no media, and they were just kind of flatlined and what happened. And when I started out the Discraft clinic videos, that's why I threw their plastic.
Yeah.
My first putter that I bought kind of on my own was a Banger GT, and it was based on seeing the putting video with Mark Ellis. Stuff like that was really influential. And it blows my mind that more companies don't have more of a plan. And we've seen Bobby do this and be incredibly successful. And I think that's why DD has gotten such a strong foothold in the market, is that they've put so much emphasis on helping the players. And when you help people, it builds loyalty, and they want to throw your discs. They want to support the people that they feel like are supporting them and helping them out. So I remember being really frustrated with Discraft and the state of things a few years ago, and little did I know what would happen after that, and we've seen it basically completely turn around. But I would still like to see them put out more instructional content. I'm still pretty disappointed, to be perfectly honest. I'm like, we got Paul and Paul alone. I mean, just that knowledge base alone could help so many players if they put in the time. But it's been, unfortunately, a little bit more emphasis on, selling the plastic, which is great. And that's, it's all good. But
and I know
I would like to see all the manufacturers put out more of that type of content, because I think helping people is what, keeps them loyal, and we all get better, and I think that is why I've had a lot of really supportive people, because I genuinely do try to help out disc golfers with my channel. That's the main real focus.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing more players kind of dive into that particular realm of instructional videos. I know I've seen Yuli do some, Jomez is doing some behind the scenes stuff like that. I know Scott Stokely is doing some instructional stuff. A lot of these players are doing instructional things on the side through like Zoom and all these other avenues in order to make a couple extra bucks and help players. So I love it. And Emily on the board says, do you think that the Fuse is so popular now because of Disc Golf Valley? Do you think that's one of the reasons? Because it's one of the main mid-ranges in Disc Golf Valley that everyone uses.
I had not considered that, but I just kind of heard about it from Jordan and Chris Clemens were really throwing them, and kind of, and then I know that Tomas from Latitude, it's his favorite disc. He actually still has one of the first ones to come out of the press, out of the machine, is in his bag still. Apparently he's lost it multiple times. At one point it spent like 6 months in a lake or something, and he paid somebody this reward to like scuba dive for it or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where you just start hearing about it again all of a sudden. It just comes out of nowhere. And it could be as simple as a player just starts throwing it again, like we haven't heard anything about the Stalker in God knows how long. And now with
or
Paige
the Avenger SS.
All those kind of molds that just kind of fall out. It's interesting to see how it all kind of comes back around. But I still like throwing a lot of the stuff that I threw a long time ago. Like, I'm still stuck on soft magnets. I can't get away from soft magnets. They're just one of my favorite discs of all time. But I've grown to really like the newer stuff from Latitude. I think they just put out incredible stuff. And it's one of those things you just can't deny when it works well for you. But it's all about finding stuff that connects with your form and what you want it to do. People ask me if there's ever like a disc that I reviewed that I really didn't like. And it's like if I really hated the disc, or I just really couldn't get a feel for it, or I felt like it really wasn't representative, or it was a lemon or something, I just won't necessarily bring the review to the channel. But not really, because it's all very subjective. Does it do what you want it to do? For somebody, it might have that exact flight that they're looking for that exact shot at hole 5 at this course. I could throw it in, and that might be exactly what they want. So it's really just completely based on what you're looking for. So that's one of the hardest things, is trying to narrow it down. There's so much choice now. It's unbelievable.
Well, I've got two things for you. One, you're wrong on the magnets. It's the hard magnet is the best way to go. It's non-subjective. And two, that's speaking of Disc Golf Valley, that would be a good idea, is to do a full review of the Disc Golf Valley discs. Just have a like, hey, this is what you get in Disc Golf Valley: the Pioneer, the Fuse, the Ballista, the Pure. I think that can't think of any more, because I think that's all that's in my Disc Golf Valley bag.
Well, I've got all those so far. And honestly, it would probably be more of me just making a separate playlist, because I doubt there's anything there I haven't really checked out. I mean, it's possible. There's so many that slip through the cracks. It's just, it's too much. I can't do them all.
Of course.
All right. So as we start to wrap up, I've got one quick question as to a lot of people might think or say that you have a dream job. I mean, that this is and I know you're not getting paid, these absurd sums of money to be doing this, and you've been doing this for the love and the passion and the willingness to help others. But one point of clarification maybe for the world is, when a disc comes out, are you in a relationship with any or all of the manufacturers or vendors that they're sending you one of these discs to review, or are you purchasing these out of pocket when you're going out and reviewing these for everybody?
Well, it's evolved a lot over the years. For a long time, I mean, people would be pretty shocked to know just in general how low budget this operation really has been. I just upgraded my computer recently, and I did it through a barter deal because I did some video editing for somebody, and my upgraded machine was $150.
Wow.
That's like the new fancy top of the line thing that I have now. My campless guy reached out to me. He's asking me about, fancy Sony this and that. I'm using a Handycam that was $120 on Craigslist, stuff like that. So, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
Well, just that. Are people sending you these discs? Are you living large with a new disc that comes out? And is it just assumed, because you've been so gracious with your time, that when a new disc comes out, DD sends you one, or Latitude or Innova or Gateway or whomever? Do they send you one, or do you have to go out and kind of hunt around and get one?
I only have relationships with a select few folks. So
Okay.
the Disc Golf Depot here in Portland is my local shop. They've been around forever, and I can go in there and get plastic from Jerry. He hooks me up.
Awesome.
I've been working with Sun King, and that's been going awesome. I got a stack of stuff that Sun King sent me behind me that I'm working on for reviews right now. I do have a relationship with DD that I've made very clear on the videos and stuff. Bobby reached out to me and just kind of asked me how we could get more trilogy stuff on the channel, and I was like, it's a real simple equation. It shows up here, and I'll put it up. I have no problem with that. And I am an open book. Like I'm open to whatever. I've worked with all kinds of different manufacturers in various ways, but in terms of long-term stuff, those are my main sponsors right now. Is DD, who hooks me up with all the Latitude and Westside stuff as well as I need, and then Sun King and the Disc Golf Depot. But other than that, not really. And to be perfectly honest, it's a little strange sometimes. Like I've done a lot of work for basically free promotion for a whole bunch of different companies, and I rarely even see them like share a post. Hey, check out this review of a disc or something like that. It's kind of strange. Maybe I fly under the radar to a lot of the manufacturers. I'm not exactly sure.
Well,
but I'm open to those kinds of things, but I'm definitely not being paid by anybody.
Yeah.
It's just the discs. I get the discs and I make the videos, and that's the deal.
And honestly, it makes a lot of sense for almost, rather than be to be in contact with the manufacturers, to do what he's doing and be in contact with some of the distributors, because they're going to have a wide variety. Yeah. Plus, who's going to benefit more from an advertisement? Sun King, who's going to get that, or Innova, we'll say. Yeah. Just to me, right. the distribution people make more sense to make inroads with, whether it's a local provider or, as you said, someone like a Sun King.
Absolutely. And we've seen that with like players playing with Infinite and stuff. They can kind of promote for everybody and have it all be under that one umbrella. That's kind of how it works out for me with the manufacturers and the retailers. It makes a little bit more sense, like you said. Then I have all different stuff. I have some Discraft stuff. I have some DGA. I have some Discmania, and whatever I really need. I can spread the love around. I'm definitely not like stuck on any one brand. I have to assume I've done more disc reviews from more different companies than anybody else. I mean, so many different ones. I forget sometimes. I'll forget a whole company of discs that I did reviews on.
Well,
before we let you go, what's next on the playlist? What's the next disc that we should be seeing a review of?
I actually have a quick little stack. I was going to show you guys just real fast what I'm working with lately. So up next, I got these crystal roaches. These are going to be fun, really nice flyers. I'm not sure where to hold them. There we go.
There you go.
That's going to be up.
Feel
Friday.
Good in the hand. The nice clean
release.
release.
In the hand holds any line.
You put it on. Yep, I'm sure.
Really floaty.
Any line you put on, really stable, can work for any player.
Yeah,
Has
it's got a
spot in
great
every
turnover
design.
and always comes back. Very predictable.
Yeah. The Fierce, I
Yep.
sent y'all a review of the Fierce. That's a recent one that's great. At the Yikun Twin Swords. This is
Okay.
a nice overmold driver from Yikun. DD Sargent, pretty sweet, nice overstable fairway they just put out. This one's got a nice flight to it as well. I'm messing around with an Opto Bite for fun. That'll be fun. Opto Keystone, which is a throwing putter. That's really nice. Shout out to Dynamite and Discmania. We got the Tactics. These are really nice, kind of like a zone harp hybrid, I would say. Really
Yep.
good flight on those. And last but not least, we got the DGA Quake, which is an overstable mid-range. That's just like part of the stack that I have laying around. There's a few other things, but that's pretty much everything I have for the moment. And yeah, we'll just keep the ball rolling. And I
All right.
also will occasionally take in different things just for fun too, like the Bite. I just wanted to try one and see what I could do with it and see how it flies and have some fun. And that's always fun too. We actually did a review on the Frisbee's Pie Tin last year at Beaver State Fling, which was really fun. That was an interesting one for sure. We had a great time with that.
Exactly. Well, so what I'll say, I'm gonna a couple things for you. One, I'll put out a public call as well. Like, guys, reach out. Disc Golf Nerd here can review your discs or your products, your merchandise, whatever. Whether you are a direct manufacturer or you work for one, and somehow you're not awake to the idea or in tune with the idea, Disc Golf Nerd is a great resource that you guys should be sending him some discs so that he can play with them. I know you frequently use them, do a review, then you sometimes give them away. So I think it would only be fair that these manufacturers start hooking you up a little bit because you've proven you're so dedicated to doing this and you're not just into hoarding discs like other people I know. And then,
I don't even want them. I want to get rid of them after I'm done. Like, if people want to buy some, just hit me up. I don't even want all these big stacks laying around. I do want to dye some of them, though. That's fun,
fat
too.
stacks of discs. And then finally, the last thing, we have to, as always, we thank you for providing some of your clips and snippets to us because, as Johnny and I said from day one, we're not into the disc reviewing. So thank you for what you do and how you assist and complement our broadcast and our podcast. So for that, we appreciate it. And on the final note is, where and how should people support you, reach out to you, and find you on your social medias? Give us a good plug.
Okay, sweet. So first of all, the channel is real obvious. It's just Disc Golf Nerd. That's the main thing. The YouTube channel is my main focus and the main hub. I do have an Instagram at Disc Golf Nerd 1 that I'm really active on there as well. And that's a great way to keep in touch with what's going on. That's also an easy way for people to get in touch with me if they need to ask me a question or whatever. That's another big thing I do is I do a lot of corresponding with players and they ask me for suggestions and that sort of thing. So I'm available for that as well. I do have a Patreon, which is awesome. I really appreciate the people who support me on there. I am out of work right now with COVID and everything that's been going on. So that's really helpful and big. So if people want to check out my Patreon, just look for Disc Golf Nerd Patreon. All the links are in all my videos and stuff. Also, just real quick shout out. I have some DGN merch. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep. Beautiful.
Very nice.
We're doing shirts and hats and golf towels. They're all produced by my buddy in California, and you can check those out at theheiserproject.com.
Okay.
And we're splitting the profits on those, so that's definitely another way people can support me. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. This is awesome. It's really cool to actually be on the show. It's crazy how long you guys have been going, and I feel like I've been listening since pretty early on, so it's cool to finally actually just sit down and be part of the show.
Well, we're sorry if you've been here from day one. All we can really do is
apologize.
No, but seriously, we appreciate it so much. You've inspired others. We know in a similar but yet different vein. We've seen other media teams tag in at like Ace Run Productions, who gives us a snippet. Other weeks that aren't reviews and they're doing other things. So you've been an inspiration to so many people out there, and just we all know it. We just keep doing what we're doing, and you know that you're helping. You're serving the disc golf community at large, and we appreciate it, and you know the entire disc golf community does.
Most certainly.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. You guys have a great night.
All right,
Thanks
pal.
for having me on. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good
Thanks,
night. Thank
buddy.
you so much.
Bye, guys.
All right, as we said, Disc Golf Nerd, go check him out on all the socials, and I know he's been very actively posting more frequently, I should say, out on his Disc Golf Nerd channel on YouTube. The latest one, I'm just looking at his page right now, the Latitude Bite Stone, he posted a day ago, 4 days ago. He had more disc golf news that he posted about, and like he said, disc golf dying FAQ he posted a week ago. So,
have you ever dyed a disc yourself?
Very, very poorly. And
I watched a video, and we've got Ian sitting here in our green room, so we'll get to him real quick. I watched a video of somebody using shaving cream, and I want to try it now. Actually, just as
wow.
just as an art project with my kid.
You're only 10 years late to the game.
I have no interest in doing this like as a full-time thing. I just think it would be a fun COVID kids at home art project, because I think I can find an old disc back there somewhere. So.
You call it COVID kids at home. I call it additional income. So we'll get them. I'll get some of my girls dying. Your kids
you
dying.
can bring your kids over. We'll just have a line.
An art party.
That's right, where we just put child labor.
Money. All right.
Speaking of child labor, this guy has a lot of kids.
That's. And to think, some people give me a hard time for my segues.
No, he
There's
could have an entire I'm telling you, he's got a future of videographers.
All right. Well, our Disc Baron Digital Green Room coming in hot. We've got Ian Anderson of Central Coast Disc Golf. Ian, how we doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic.
Tell us what you think of Johnny's segue.
Hey, dude, 3 kids is a lot of kids. I'll tell you that much. Especially during quarantine.
Yes,
I'm trying to work from home. I'm home all day long. It is.
I'm telling you,
sometimes
you've got a catch cam, you've got a throw cam, you've got a reaction cam. That's all you need now.
It might not be the easiest one to do, like the best, but it has like the least consequences if done wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
Like I've always said, like B cam is harder than A cam, but also less important. You know.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Like, yeah.
So let's expand a little, and I know we just talked to Disc Golf Nerd, who it's so great for us because we all have a Disc Golf YouTube beginning. Wherever and whatever that was. For anyone who somehow might not know yours, kind of break down your beginning of disc golf and Central Coast.
Okay, well, I actually started YouTube with like Battlefield Bad Company 2 videos.
Those are games, I'm guessing, or
yeah, it's like COD, like Call of Duty.
Oh, sure,
one of those, you know.
Those with like guns and shooters and people running around. And
we've been talking about this lately. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Guns. Okay, and video games.
I was messing around with that, and I just got super into disc golf. And there's a big tournament coming to town. It was right before 2011 Worlds. With there was a Will Schusterick, an EMAC, Joe Revere, and Gabe Coda. I think might be the 4th person, like a Santa Maria local, but 3 big names at the time. And so I posted on Reddit Disc Golf. I was like, if I go film this, will you guys watch it? And they're like, sure, man. So I went out there and I filmed it, and terribly with my wife's digital camera. It has like 2.5x optical zoom, you know, so it's just pixels everywhere. And then, just kept at it. Just really never stopped. I just always tried to get a little bit better.
Yeah, and we think back to 2011. Johnny, I was there. I was played in the 2011 Worlds, and I did a little bit of like daily wrap-ups. Johnny was there working with Disc Golf Planet, doing trying to assist in live disc golf coverage. And then we've talked about this before, that the real coverage of Worlds was usually, year was really special, but was usually film it in July or August, and maybe we'd have a VHS or a DVD by December. And clearly you jumped in early as well and thought, no, like let's get more out sooner. What was your workflow like? What was your thought process in then assembling your footage? Were you like,
I was just trying to make it. I'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say, were you just like, hey, I want to get every single shot and I'm gonna do all these things? Like, what was your thought process when you were trying to just put your first round of
like
golf
my very
together?
first video? I've been watching Disc Golf Monthly for maybe a couple years before I went out and filmed first. Did you guys ever watch that?
Yep.
R.I.P. Cubby. But yeah, so I kind of had like a format to follow. I also watched a lot of LCGM8. If you guys are familiar with that, it's a European channel. My friend Juha Alkiamaki. So when I started up, I actually hit him up for some advice, just general filming tips and stuff like that. And so I kind of had, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I was just bashful about it. I think I was like 30 feet off the tee pad on the first hole, feeling all weird and stuff. But I knew to get every shot. And then when I did commentary the first time, the camera work is so terrible because it's a digital camera. Like the disc is gone after 200 feet. So I had to like explain the whole thing. So I figured I'd do commentary because I've been doing commentary with the YouTube videos for Battlefield. And I gave away literally every shot. You know, it's like, oh, there's a great putt coming up right here. Like, oh, this missed it. You just he throws it so hard right into a tree. You know, just right before it happens. And I got some feedback on the first video, and they were like, "Yeah, it'd be nice if you didn't spoil it." I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess so."
But I'm so excied to tell you guys what happened.
I watched it. I was there.
Yeah.
I know, and it's also like the pretending thing. You know, like we have to like pretend I haven't seen it. You know, like do a fake thespian thing. You know.
Yeah.
Was there, I mean, obviously there's some major lessons learned there, but what do you feel like was your biggest takeaway? Did you leave with a sense of accomplishment, or were you even more uncertain when you left the event? Like, what was kind of your takeaway?
Yeah, I guess when I left the event, I was like, well, I think I got some footage to be okay. I'm going to try and post it and see if literally anybody watches it. And I think it got like 250 views, which I was like, hey, that's cool. That's way more than 0.
Yeah.
So I just kept going.
Yeah,
like, and there's people who were really nice too, really nice comments. Honestly, that really kept me going in the early game for sure.
Well, and to be fair, back then again, we were waiting on a DVD or VHS or whatever, and just content wasn't nearly as plentiful, of course.
Yeah.
So anything was better than the pre-existing nothing. So you were filling that void of giving everybody all of this golf to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the plan. I was like, there's nobody filming out here at all. There's all these great tournaments with no video coverage whatsoever. It's like, I might as well.
Yeah, and so when you thought about expansion, what did that mean to you? Upgrades, expansion, those types of things. What was some of that process for you?
It's always been like adding, nicer cameras. I think really quickly after that first tournament, I was like, this camera is not going to work. The digital zoom is terrible, and the autofocus is slow. So I went out and got a camcorder right away. Just from talking to Yuha Akiyamaki a bunch about, DSLRs or camcorders and whatnot. So I added those. And I started, just collecting all my friends and all the people joining Central Coast Disc Golf, helped me out, like Juan, and I really gave our graphics the first like bump up, and then Corey, making our production really smooth and fast, and like Peter's killing it with all he had some really cool like Photoshop graphics early on before we had the fancy After Effects stuff. So yeah, that's kind of been buying better equipment and collecting awesome people to work for Central Coast Disc Golf.
Now, did you? All of the stories have been really intriguing, but did you have any previous photography or video insights or skills or experience? I mean, I think about some of these people that range all the way from absolutely zero to, people that, got 3 degrees in it in college and everywhere in between. What was your previous experience with film, camera, edit, all that kind of stuff?
Like, I just had editing experience from making the YouTube videos, but that was like Windows Live Movie Maker. So I don't even know if you can count that as experience. That's a negative experience,
Hey, that's what I started on. There. You be quiet. That's what I started. Yeah, that's
all right, man.
Free Windows Movie Maker. Yeah.
I had this one project that refused to render. I would like just try to change it around a little bit, change a clip. Probably failed like 20 times. I was like, screw it, I'm buying Premiere, and then just did it.
Which is a big move.
Especially back then, before they had the monthly service, you were probably paying.
Well, it was way cheaper, right? I bought Elements.
Or that's Premiere Elements.
I bought the Elements, the like scaled back version, and it was like $89 to just get Adobe Premiere Elements, and if you wanted like Lightroom and Adobe Elements, it was like $149 for the pair. Did you ever, or did you go right to like Premiere? Did you ever mess with Elements?
No, I think I went right to Premiere. I think it was only subscription too. Right when I started, it was like $20 a month or whatever. For just Premiere.
All right, so that must have been early when they started doing the subscription, because before that you had to pay the full price of like $600 or $700 or $800 depending on what you wanted.
Yeah, it was expensive. Like I probably would have ripped it, at that point.
Yeah.
I don't mind the subscription. I don't know. I think it's very easy updates, and
same here.
I feel like a better person.
Yeah. So that does bring up another good question, and we talked to a lot of our content producers. You're an Adobe guy, and your whole workflow is that correct?
Yeah.
Now everything's been through Adobe, and then how about machines? I know some of the people that tech out and spec out want to. Is that a thing? Want to know those types of things.
I just buy really nice gaming laptops. Well, not even like really nice. I feel like the sweet spot around for like nice gaming PCs is like right around a G. So I usually drop $1,000 on a laptop whenever the last one craps out. So
how
some of my
many-
guys have Macs. I don't do those.
How many, as of right now, how many cameras, like primary cameras for yourself, if you were to, let's say you went to every single shoot, but how many camera upgrades have you had? So you started with your
The Rebel, like
Yep.
the Canon Rebel.
Okay.
Then I got the Panasonic 700 and
okay.
the Panasonic 900, which is a very small upgrade. And then the X70 Sony,
Yep.
which is I think something like you have right now, right?
Yep, I have the 80,
Yes,
the newer 80s.
the newer version,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then the 150s.
150s. Okay.
And then I just bought right before we got COVIDed. I went and spent a lot of money on an FS7, which sucked. So
Okay.
Patreon's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that's 5 upgrades plus then I don't want to call that a bonus camera, but you've had at least 5 significant upgrades, and then computers, and then gone through a couple different softwares. Like that sounds like the standard progression, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
it feels like everybody kind of has to go through those steps, and with each step you're investing more. Hopefully you're learning more, and hopefully there's a little more of either monetary or non-monetary payoff when you're going through that progression. What's
I was gonna say, is there anything that you look at that you're like, I'd really like that, or what's your next big upgrade?
I keep looking like a mirrorless camera, or just like a DSLR for like the more artistic shots and B-roll, and get that bokeh, or or for like something like this. Right now I'm using one of my 150s, but a camera would be better for this.
Sure.
So that's kind of for like social media and all that kind of good stuff.
so
Once I got the I was eyeing the FS7 for a long time, but I always had Brian Geis, but then he left for Jomez, so I need to replace him and the camera.
Brian.
So when you're in a unique position in that your channel continues to put out, or has continued through all these years to put out a ton of footage, but you aren't always there. And that's kind of unique for you, because a lot of our other channels, everyone that's really part of the channel or is a main staple in the channel is physically there, or is something on site, hands-on, not that you're not hands-on, but is on site. Explain like what goes into when you're at an event versus when you have some of your employees or your contractors out there.
Yeah. I think it's like the biggest difference is the commentary is a lot harder.
Okay.
Is honestly like, if I have Peter or Corey there, I trust them to run the show. Not Corey, not so much anymore now that he's doing his own thing. But if I got Peter there, I know he can manage everything, get everything done on time. So it's, and then the hardest part obviously is finding some spot to upload the video to, where we can both watch it. So I can watch it back in San Diego and do commentary on it. And in some cases it hasn't worked out where I can do commentary, so we'll just do the 2 Pro model.
Yeah, where you have two of the people that are at the event. They'll come to a house or Airbnb, hotel, whatever it is. They'll come there and then lay down the commentary track. So you're essentially, I don't want to say you're not involved, but you're certainly a little more hands-off. Are you doing other things back at the house that are helping with the process at that point?
Yeah, we'll do like, I'll do the social media for it. My wife will do the social media, and Peter will be like, all right, dude, I'll upload the video. Can you manage it, in the YouTube Studio app on my phone? Like changing the title, description, posting it when it's ready to go, doing a little QC work on it to make sure it came out all right. So yeah, I'll try to, I help the dudes as much as I possibly can, but only so much as possible being offsite and having a family and a job. Yeah,
and that brings me to my next question, which is explain what your, with you not being at some of these events. I'll say, why is that? I know why, but explain like what your work, real life situation is like.
Yeah, so my real job is that I'm an industrial engineer for Jack in the Box, which is a fast food company on the West Coast and some parts of Texas and the Midwest. So I do like a lot of speed of service analysis on new equipment, new procedures. I do time studies on all our new products, and I manage our labor system, do a lot of like data pulls from our BI system, our business intelligence system, and a bunch of nerdy math, basically.
So we'll sidetrack from disc golf for just a moment and say, what has that meant during COVID for you? Like, yeah.
it's actually pretty interesting. Like so I've been working from home, which is honestly it's pretty awesome. I get to sleep a little more. The hardest part is just kicking the kids outside when I have a conference call or something and need to actually talk. Our daughters are very loud. But yeah.
Do you
do you have this set up for when you go on a Zoom meeting? Do you have the microphone and the nice camera? Are you is it the best looking Zoom call? Everybody else is kind of pixely. But...
Damn, he sounds good.
I should totally do that, but no, I slum it. Just for you. This is the first time I've ever done it, just for you guys.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if that's true. I think I've watched some of your rewatches.
I've heard you say that to others.
No, this is legit the first time I promise I've ever hooked up the 150 to my laptop.
Nice. Yeah, he said he had
it's on
a
my crappy
Yep.
webcam before that.
Awesome. So with regards to work, are you busier? Are there new challenges because of like the new processes and procedures related to the outbreak, or is anything different?
Like we had to do, we had to send out sneeze guards to all the restaurants. So my boss was like, all right, Ian, who's open and who's closed? How many restaurants are not open yet? We need to send sneeze guards to. So I'm pulling data from our BI system to try to figure that out. And we had to send masks to every employee in the system. So I had to figure out how many employees we have at each location, get all the information. So it's a lot more weird random requests. So I've been pretty busy, honestly, through the whole thing. And actually, Jack in the Box as a whole is doing really well through this whole COVID thing. We were down quite a bit early. We're doing pretty good now. So
yeah, I got to admit, Jack in the Box, I'm not a financial guy or really much of a stock guy, but many years ago, when I found out Jack in the Box was maybe the parent company of Qdoba, does that sound right?
They are. Oh, we used to be, yeah.
Used to be until somewhat recently. The little stock I did purchase was in Jack in the Box, so I've owned Jack in the Box stock for quite some time. It's building to a sizable amount. And I've been kind of watching it through all these years. We don't have a Jack in the Box in Wisconsin. I think I've been to one in my life, but they own Qdoba, so that was enough to get me to buy into it.
Qdoba was awesome. And we had a catering kitchen in the bottom of our offices, so you could just order Qdoba, very easily. It was dangerous.
Yeah, that would have been.
Don't get me too sidetracked here.
Queso.
Yeah, that queso.
Diablo, I love you.
So where do you stand right now as far as your future? I know you have talked for the past couple of years about thinking about trying to go on tour more.
Yeah.
Has this COVID changed that idea? Are you any closer or further away? Or are you kind of happy with your station?
I'm honestly kind of happy with it right now. Like, I'm really glad I didn't quit. I really thought about it this year. I was, but I'm really glad I didn't.
Yeah. Like all you other suckers out there.
That's right.
But yeah, and honestly, I really like my job, and everybody I work with, all my bosses are super nice. Like, if I hated my job, it'd be so easy to quit. Yeah, and we have foster kids to support now, so it's hard, and we can't just as easily move to my mother-in-law's house. Like, the plan if I quit my job was going to be move back in with the mother-in-law, in Paso Robles, 5 hours north of San Diego, and try to grow it from there. Lower expenses, obviously it's not cheap living in San Diego, but we have foster kids right now, so we can't really leave the county very much. So
okay,
stuck here a little bit.
Yeah, and so you're in San Diego. Earlier we were talking about Goat Hill. I don't know if you were logged in yet, but we were talking about Goat Hill and some of the experience out there. Alan Risley, of course, you're the tournament director. I think they're trying to get creative with finding a way to make Goat Hill, fit somewhere onto a schedule that might be pre Portland Open. Where have you been in terms of keeping up with what's going on PDGA wise, tour wise, that kind of stuff? Are you just kind of wait and see, or are you trying to stay up on a daily, or where are you at with that?
Yeah, I troll Reddit Disc Golf, so all the news is usually posted there. And I had a talk with Jeff Spring a little bit ago about the Pro Tour. Just making sure when we're good to go, and if we're good to go for Portland. And I was like, yeah, I think we'll be good to go there. So we'll be at Portland.
Okay.
And then he's also talking about trying to get some match play going. I don't know. Have you guys heard rumors of that?
Yeah.
I've heard rumors of match play. I don't know what's happening. I know this weekend and next weekend, I believe Mo is putting together the putting.
Sure.
It's
different, but yeah,
it's putting. Different, but I know they're doing putting, so I don't know. I'm not sure about the match play, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a bigger plan to try and have a regional match play qualifiers where it's similar to this putting situation, but have people play against one another in various regions, and then have a culmination event. Once things are back up to speed, so to speak.
Try to have some of the media crews cover individual match play events and then release those.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was gonna try and do one at Sky High, which I know probably doesn't mean anything. Have you guys heard of Sky High?
Mm-mm.
So it's probably an hour outside Los Angeles, but it's like 7,500 feet on the side of a ski slope. It plays all up and down at 27 holes, gorgeous views the whole time. So I was trying to make that happen for the match play. If it does work, I think it'd be great for it.
Yeah, as long as you're playing down. I mean, that up and down. The down part.
It is a hike, man.
Yeah, and then you say 27 holes. Like, I think of any ski hill golf. I've designed a couple courses on small ski hills. Mm-hmm. The larger ones we've seen, like, I can't imagine 27 holes around a ski hill.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wild. The last hole starts at the very top of the mountain too. So it's like, oh, you're tired? Here, hike to the very top now.
But that throw down is always so nice. I just think of some of the world's courses we've played.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Earlier we were talking to Disc Golf Nerd, who has really found his niche in the reviews, disc reviews. Primarily, he's done some other stuff, and as he said, there's an endless supply of discs and equipment that's available. Have you thought about what your channel does or doesn't want to maybe dip into or actively pursue? Or I don't know if there's any secrets that you do or don't want to share, but do you love the idea that you're primarily shot by shot, next day coverage kind of concept, or is there other things that you think you want to dip into?
I definitely don't want to do disc reviews. Like, shout out to Disc Golf Nerd.
That's what we say.
Both of us say the same thing. Like, like it's a special.
Did you guys stick your toe in that water?
Never. Not me.
Like my very first vlog in 2010. I'm like, this is like a pro katana. It was released, and I maybe like read the flight numbers at the time, but that was as far as it got. I didn't ever really do any disc reviews. There's some other equipment I want to get into. That's another story, but disc reviews, no thanks.
So I did a little bit, and it is so much work, especially if you only have one of the discs. Like, you gotta walk so much. It is just not my jam. Oh man, funny. So Dodge sent me the lace when he was still working at Vibram. And do you guys remember there was like a very understable lace and like a kind of understable lace?
Yeah,
like
the unlace.
They flew very different.
The lace and the unlace.
Right, but when they first came out, it was just the lace, and they had two versions, and they sent him out with the same name of the lace, and he gave me the flippy AF one, and then they released the other one, so I was like, I just spent all this time making this video for a disc that doesn't even exist now. And
that's a Dodge thing to do. I love that guy, but that
I was like, this is not gonna get any views anyway. Like, this is just so.
What do you feel like?
The round coverage, I was gonna say, I really think like Central Coast, what we do well is like the fun rounds, the champs versus chumps, starter pack stuff. So I think kind of our model going forward, just grab the best card we can at the tournaments we want to go to, and hopefully, turn that Monday into something really productive, it's really worked out well for us in the past. So that's kind of my model for the future.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, do you feel like, and maybe you just answer the question of what motivates or drives you, and it seems like a good course with a good card, as opposed to say, I really want to go after something because, I want to dive into this because it's going to get views, or it's because it's what people are clamoring for. But you got to be happy with what you're filming as well. And that sounds like good cards on a good course. And that sounds like a great combo in itself.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give you two options. Who are your two favorite people to do commentary with? I don't want you to pick one because that would be unfair to other. But give me two.
It's so mean, man.
It is. I mean, there are some people that maybe you gel better with. There are some people that you just enjoy, like listening to them break something down for whatever reason.
Okay. Gosh, I really like Seppo. I know he can be polarizing with his accent. Some people don't like it when he's on, but I think he's great. I love that he always is like calls it like it is,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Jones is another really fun one to do commentary with. He just, he's everybody's hype man, and it shows in the commentary. He's really fun. Sias is great. See, I'll go on and on.
I know that's the problem. I try to keep you to two.
Sexton,
I love Kevin Jones. I love listening to him do commentary. I think he's a natural at it. I think
he really is. He's a great personality, man. Like he's just a great person to be around.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you think about all those people, I was thinking about it earlier today. I had a conversation with Jeff Spring, and afterwards I was thinking, like, I enjoy being in the booth with pretty much everybody. Like,
I could change that.
Yeah, well, I'm not thinking of you. I'm thinking
that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's so easy to gel with so many. We got so many great people. Has there been anyone that you're dying to get in there, to get in the booth, or to co-commentate with you that hasn't maybe done it yet?
Gosh, dude, Doss, man, is someone who I think would be amazing that I've never had on.
Sure. Well, a little bit heartbreaking, probably. Not only, I mean, obviously this entire year with coverage that we've been missing out on, but some of the standards or the events that you've really come to be synonymous with. I think of a Beaver State Fling. I think of things, obviously things over in California, a Masters Cup and so on. What's it been like for you? Kind of missing some of those really big staples in your usual disc golf year.
It feels weird, man. It feels weird just being at home so much. Like this month, I think I worked every single day last year. Like I was either at Jack in the Box or on a disc golf course filming every single day of May last year. It's a change. It's been nice to be at home with the family though, with the wife, and really get a chance to bond with the kids. We've only had our daughters for 6 months, so it's been really interesting. It's been nice to co-parent with the wife a lot.
I was just gonna say, so sometimes some of my family members be like, hey, don't you have like a tournament? You've been home for like 4 days. Isn't it time for you to hit the road? I get that. I'm guessing you don't as much. But yeah, this time all together. And it seems, dare I say, like the timing is perfect, that you're home. You can be home, with the fresh family additions that you have. It has to be, dare I say, is it good timing?
I take advantage. And honestly, like, I'm still doing like okay because we don't have any expenses right now. I'm not like paying thousands of dollars for travel and Airbnbs and rental cars and food and crew, and so hasn't been all bad.
What would you say is the one thing you're missing the most? Like one really, maybe it's obscure, but like the one specific thing that you feel like you miss the most at the moment with not doing our regular routine.
Honestly, just like saying hi to the fans. Like I don't know, I just love being all the nice disc golfers out there. It's super rewarding. Like we're not balling, so we kind of feed off those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. You think of like the joy of hitting publish or hitting that schedule button or the beautiful thumbnail that is ready. That's been loaded in and just all of those kind of excitement, and sometimes that's at 2 a.m. sometimes that's at 6 a.m. but
depends where your internet is that night.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I know it's a really uncertain question, but any thoughts about the remainder of the year, like where we're at, where you think you're at, where your team is at? Is there any overarching concerns or thoughts?
No, I honestly feel like pretty okay. I think we're ready to get back to work whenever that starts to be. And it looks like it's going to be Portland Open. Looks like we'll be there. And then, hopefully the schedule just kind of kicks back into gear. I don't know. Do you guys know what's up with the NTs? I haven't heard from Steve in a while.
No, I see he's running a lot. I don't know if he's running away from us, the media crews, or what. But I have not heard anything about the NTs. I guess I'm still under the assumption that we're going to get the last 2 of them. But
okay.
But
I wouldn't hold our breath. I mean, at this point,
I just
feel
it's
not really a series, in my opinion.
No, I know, but those events probably will still happen, I would assume. And if the Pro Tour goes on starting in Portland, I kind of feel like the national tour will. I don't want to say feel obligated, but that they'll want to follow suit. But I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. They're very different organizations. One like kind of has to make money to like survive. The other one can just be like meh.
Exactly. And I think I heard that Music City, which was going to be its debut year as a national tour and our concluding national tour event of the year,
and on a brand new course because they got kicked off the.
I think has been officially canceled.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah, I do not believe
Really?
that it's going to be running. I feel like, did I hear that from someone told me from a podcast maybe that they were doing last night or an update of sorts?
Wow.
That I don't think so. At that point, you have Delaware. That's not a tour.
No, I'm not saying that there's going to be a tour. I'm just saying, if
Events.
yeah, that the events will still run. It just depends if they're going to have the NT title to them. Who cares if the players show up? I don't care what it's called. I don't care if it's called a pro tour, a national tour. If it's a great event and a big event, the worst thing is that maybe, the PDGA doesn't spot for media. Maybe they're just like, yeah, we're not going to spot for media, so go find something else to do, boys.
My wife just showed me something. It's officially canceled.
Okay, so
Music City. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there goes what was the NT finale. So what else? Beaver State,
which is canceled.
canceled.
That's it.
Just Delaware.
Delaware,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Delaware is the tour opener, the tour closer, and the tour champion. No, and
That's a good payday if you take on that tourney. Though,
That's
man.
right.
the bonus.
You get the big bonus.
You could buy a Kia or something, dude.
No, and I'll go out on a limb and say at that point, I know Delaware throughout the last couple of years has been in position both schedule and geography wise, geographically. But at that point, again, there's that much harder time raising money, doing all those sorts of things. That's an event that I could see then possibly not even taking place as well. So, yeah.
The Myrtle Beach Open's going down in October. I'm throwing that one out there. I've been talking to that tournament director. He's down.
Yeah, there's going to be like 300 tournaments in October is how I feel. And
Yeah.
I've made this joke a few times
right.
here. Everybody thinks, well, let's put it on in October. Like every event. Are we going to go from a huge deficit to this insane surplus of events that are going to want coverage, that are going to, try to catch up at the end of the year?
And is it going to split up all the pros?
Yes. All of those.
And you're going to be super busy.
It's got to happen.
Right?
And hopefully we'll be super busy. I got to imagine all the touring pros are probably just going to chill wherever they are mostly and just go play whatever's close, right? Because they're not on tour anymore. There's no tour. Maybe the pro tour kicking off will kind of make them tour a little bit. I don't know.
I would think it would almost have to because
that's where the money is going to be. That's where the media is.
Yeah.
That's where the bonuses are. That's where, there may or may not be fans, but that's where all those opportunities are going to be. Is probably following that, the tour around, assuming the pro tour is kicking off and is back in full swing. Which, as of right now, like we're all kind of agreeing, we think Portland's hopefully that next opportunity. So
man, this is just so funny. This is the first year I've been so organized. I had all my tournaments lined up. I even had them updated on the website. I updated the website, Terry, before the year started, man. And that's why this happened. I'm pretty
so you
sure.
totally niced our year. You niced our whole year.
Way to go.
It's so hard, man.
Oh, jeez.
So someone like Peter, for instance, I know who's kind of one of your right hand men out there. How's the rest of your crew and staff? Are they able to find other work, and has everyone kind of gone back to their home base? Like you talked earlier about all these people coming and getting on board and being your core team. What's kind of the team look like right now?
Well, thankfully, I think Peter's is the only one that doesn't work for anybody else.
Okay.
So Pablo has his own editing company. Keenan works for UC Santa Cruz. Sean has a bunch of clients. Our graphics guy does a lot of really high quality graphics work. So thankfully, the most I have other sources of income, but I've been throwing some money at Peter, try to keep him afloat.
Yeah.
So,
and then you said, thankfully, you didn't in this case pull the trigger to let go of Jack of the Box this year.
yes.
Unlike our friends at Gatekeeper, I think Derek specifically kind of made that. Yeah, he
made the leap this year, and so far there's no bottom yet.
Free falling.
Sure, Petty.
Exactly. What else? We saw the starter pack challenge. emerge in the last few weeks. Do you have anything else that's in the can or in the works that people should be gearing up for, getting excited about here as a release?
I am Ian in the can Anderson Terry.
Okay,
So,
yeah. So you got
yes.
plenty.
So I actually got the Quarry Park Open from England, which I'm currently editing. And right after that, I'll be editing the Iceland Summer Solstice Open or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but it's a tournament in Iceland. And then Peter is working on a Champs versus Chumps out of Prince Edward Island, Canada.
Okay,
so
nice.
Took place right after the event took place.
Yeah.
Yep, awesome last year.
How many events do you have? Like Terry a month or two ago told me, he's like, oh man, I've got all these rounds that are sitting waiting to be edited that I just kind of hung on to, and it didn't. Do you have anything like that other than, like old ones that you could go back to and be like, all right, we're really going to be down for another 3 months. Let's dig into the vault.
Yeah, I got a couple Morley rounds. I filmed a couple like Southwest Team Challenges. They're actually cool. It's got Barsby and Doss, and who else is in it? Dylan Evans, maybe Sias. I don't think Gabriel's in that one. And then I've got a really old Morley round, another Southwest Team Challenge with Paul Macbeth and Steve Rico. They're throwing one whole lefty, one whole righty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in the vault somewhere. And I got a couple other rounds too, like a 2018 challenge at Goat Hill. I need to get that one done.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
anything I haven't put out, I didn't get paid for. I'll just say that. So.
And that's what Terry was saying too. Like, just hey, I happen to be the get here. I had this extra time to cover around, or however it happened.
Yeah, all these pros are at San Diego, Morley Field, like 10 minutes away. I was like, I should just go film it, just in case I need it eventually. So.
Yeah, and just literally last night, I had captured the final half of the final round in Thailand of Jeff Hungerford, Johnny Rumble, a couple legendary, Masters age players, super great guys. We were already getting the men. We got the women. That footage has all been out. But I was like, I've got, their concluding round and got it all shot by shot. It wasn't something like yourself. Like I wasn't contracted for it. So it was totally bonus footage. And then last night, I had to get those two together to do commentary from across the country. And it's like, yeah, here's some more footage. Take it or leave it, right? It's there for you.
Exactly. Nobody's gonna make you watch it.
Exactly.
You don't have to. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. Don't leave a comment. Just go away.
That's right.
Don't leave. Just go away.
Comments.
So, and that's something we did touch on briefly with Disc Golf Nerd. He said that he feels like he's been really well received. People are generally really positive, and we think that he's providing this great service. Why is it when we get to shot by shot coverage, people sometimes feel a little more nitpicky or entitled or worked up? Why is that?
Because that's like the actual game, that's the drama. That's the sport part of it,
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. If anything, you should have like less because it's next day. But
and it's a lot of work, and you guys are busting your tails to make it happen. What's the favorite positive or negative comment you've come across on your channel in the last month? Is there any that stand out?
Oh man. I can't think. Honestly, people have been really nice lately.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I've just banned all the jerks already. Over the years.
I would love to see your banned list channel, because ours is a decent stack from being live and people come in and just do whatever. You're like, okay, you're gone, dude. I would love to see someone like yours as well. Just the sheer
There's
force.
There's probably a lot of overlap, man.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Yeah, the latest troll has been LB. Does that ring a bell? Okay.
No.
Just always has something really negative or stupid. I wondered for the longest time if it was just a bot, because it's just their login is LB, and it's always something really negative or stupid, and it's relentless. And what is it? Carver John. He's always, I'll call him out. He's always a good one for saying something stupid, and then like, oh, sorry, banned. Now you got to go through the hassle of setting up a new account on Gmail or something.
I remember one from a couple years ago. Still sticks with me. This guy is like, "Oh my God, stop saying Heiser flip. You say Heiser flip 100 times this video. It's ridiculous." And I was like, "Well, he threw a Heiser flip, dude. Like, what do you want me to say?" And then I was like, I wasted a legit half hour of my time rewatching the video because, like, well, maybe I do say it a lot. 3 times, Terry. 3 times in that half an hour video, I said it, and this dude was just going off on me, man. And I was like, dude, I watched this video. I said it 3 times. He's like, well, it's not just this video; it's every video. You say it all the time. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
so it wasn't Scott Lewis who owns Heiser Flip out in on the East Coast. It wasn't him.
No, you probably loved it if I say it all the time.
Yeah.
God, I swear it was some teenager, man. His reading comprehension was terrible. I can't argue with idiots. I was like, I'm done with you, dude, and just banned him.
I love it. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what's going on in the world with you. It sounds like you personally are getting through this, which obviously we all love to hear, and we're just fighting through till everybody's ready for some. I mean, could your tagline be any more fitting now? Let's watch some disc. Like, people are ready.
Everybody's
Let's watch some disc golf, man. JVD, how's your job situation, man? Are you still working?
Yeah, honestly, we just I haven't even told Terry that we literally just hired a person down in Texas. We're gonna open up new locations in Texas. It'll be our 4th or 5th state. Right now I work for a title company, and we are doing gangbusters because the interest rates are so low. We're still catching up on refinancings. So we have, if this COVID hadn't happened, we would be freaking out that we have too much work. So it's kind of pushed down to like just the right amount right now, where nobody's unhappy. We're getting everything we need to get done, and we're still able to expand. We just bought a new company up in Rhinelander that, it's been a little crazier, but overall, I as everyone, like, I have a job. I work 5 days a week. I stay home 1 day a week with the kids, my wife goes in. Other than that, I'm sitting in my little cubicle at the office and with almost no one around me. And it's nice because I can get whatever I want done. It's peaceful and quiet. Almost no one bothers me. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
This is my office right now, this corner of the couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I installed a second monitor on my wall, like right there. You can't see it.
Nice.
Like
I like what you've done with the place.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's sad. I work all day here for my actual job, and then I have dinner, and then I go sit right back down here and start doing the Central Coast disc golf work.
I know. I had to tell my son, I'm like, because he's been sitting in a specific chair all day doing work, and I said, no, you have to sit here for schoolwork, which is like a tiny desk 3 feet away. I said, and you can sit in your comfy chair for fun time, like separation. Like, have a work area, have a play area. Don't And today I caught him doing work in his comfy chair, and I was like, get up, go sit over at your desk. Because otherwise, you're right. You just sit in the same spot, and it all blends together.
It does, man. I wish I had other options, but this is the corner that has the easy power access and a wall for my monitor. So this is where I sit.
Yeah.
Makes it all easy. And then we'd be remiss to skip over, especially with Mo out on the board, just trying to get in on it. You've been doing some rewatches with Mo, Disc Golf Pro Tour, and kind of recapping what's gone into the decision process or decision making for what videos you guys are going to rewatch.
Gosh, I think it started with like this one round I wanted to watch from like 2015 Worlds, and it's kind of like, hey, what should we watch next during the thing? And then we'll mention something, and we'll go look it up, and then we'll go grab that video and just kind of keep it rolling. So
nice.
I think they've all been Paul smashing everybody so far.
Well, okay.
I mean, that's
we're kind of in that era.
It was the West Coast, and it was early. I mean, that's, and I know I've talked to Mo a few times in the last day or two. I think he's going to be upping his live streaming game. He's got a couple new tools he's available to him now. So I'm excited.
He's learning things.
He is. He's not happy about it, but he's learning things.
He works so hard, and he's so smart. He'll figure anything out, man.
Yes, that's exactly
loved
what
having
I
him
said.
on board.
I'm sorry, I'm reading him as he's out on the board right now. All right. So how can all of YouTube, disc golfers, non-disc golfers, all of us support what you and your team and your staff, your crew, what are the ways we can find you and support you out there?
Yeah, sure. So our YouTube channel, our Instagram, Facebook, it's all Central Coast Disc Golf. We're on Twitter, and then our Patreon is CCDG. If you feel like joining us there, huge thanks. My wife's making funny dances over there. I don't know why.
She's like, make it rain. Get that plug in there. Make some money.
She's trying to say we're on TikTok too, which we are barely.
Of course you are. Yes.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you guys TikTok at all?
I installed the app on my phone. and I didn't log in. I didn't do anything, and I kept scrolling through, and I swear all it was for me to start out with was like 18-year-old. I'm gonna assume they're 18-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Doing whatever the most popular dance in the world is. And so I would keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and occasionally I would see like, oh, this is kind of a cool. Oh, look, it's a basketball highlighter. And then I did some search for disc golf, and there was hardly anything out there. And then I started feeling like okay, so I deleted it off my phone because I could probably sit and lose time in that. And I've thought like, can we do something on TikTok? Is there something we should be doing on there? And I just don't have the time right now.
I know, right? I wish, like, if I was like full time doing this, I would definitely hop on there and start posting content. Innova posts a lot of content on there.
Yes,
Do you guys know
I saw that they've been doing that.
Yeah, they're killing it on there.
Yeah, I'm subjected to what my 9 and 11-year-olds are doing, and so they're still teaching me. I'll get up to speed eventually on.
We're gonna get some TikTok dances out of you soon.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Good.
Anyway. All right, Ian. Well, we appreciate your work, your grind, your hustle, all of those things, the crews you put together to give us some of the greatest disc golf we've ever seen over these last few years, and then some, and we look forward to more of it in the future. When everybody talks about listening to commentary, your name always comes up as that smooth voice that everybody wants to hear from, so we're super excited to catch up with you.
I've met him in person. His voice is way higher. It's the microphone. It's all in the microphone.
No, you just hugged him too hard. Maybe
it's all audition.
he rolls with his own auto tune. It's all.
Well, all those things right back at you guys, man.
Thanks,
we
man.
appreciate it. Thank you again for all the work you guys are doing. Stay safe. And hopefully we'll run into you somewhere on the West Coast, because that means things have picked back up, and we'll follow the tour from there on out. But keep doing everything you're doing. We all appreciate it. Everyone in disc golf does, and looking forward to seeing you soon, buddy.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All
Thanks.
right. Have a good night,
man.
Take care.
You too.
All right. Of course, Ian Anderson of Central Coast Disc Golf.
One of, and everybody will say it, one of the nicest guys in our sport in general. Never has a bad word to say about almost anything.
I've heard him talk about you.
Well, that's fine. We'll give you the shirt off his back if you ask.
Yeah.
He's just, as you heard, 2 foster kids right now. He is the definition of a phenomenal person, not just in disc golf, but just overall. I love to sit and chat with him. Every once in a while I'll hit him up on Facebook Messenger or something, and we'll go on for half hour, 40 minutes about just whatever.
Okay,
and
quit with the name dropping.
He's
okay,
just. Did I drop? Is that Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, no,
like Facebook Messenger drop. That's the name. Like
I echo everything you said.
Overall, but he's just honestly a great person. He's better than both of us. I'll put that.
I don't think anybody was wondering.
That's a low bar for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was wondering. No, and I will echo all of that, and also say, what's one of my favorite parts about talking to Ian on Messenger. I get on that.
You can drop
that
Messenger.
PM. No, I get in on that PM as well. We sometimes will talk a little bit more business side about some specifics when it comes to post-production coverage, and just having such a great sounding board. He sometimes bounces things off of me. Usually I bounce things off of him, and just that collaborative effort and willingness for us to openly kind of share things back and forth. I appreciate the heck out of. So it's been great. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for joining us so far tonight. Of course, we caught up with Dynamite, Disc Golf Nerd, and then Ian Anderson. I don't know if we have too much more going on in the regular show here before we close things out for the after show. There is not an Eagles Wings champion or virtual putting league list to announce tonight. I believe tonight or right now they were taking off, and I think we're going to see that pick back up next week, and we'll continue to announce them. I don't know if there's anything else major in terms of the news. I think as we were talked through it a few minutes ago, with the Music City Open not taking place in a national tour capacity at the end of September, that really just kind of essentially puts the dagger into the 2020 version of the national tour, and the national tour having 6 events as opposed to what we're going to probably, what our scheduled 10 events for the Pro Tour and the finals. with 6 events and 3 or 4 of those already upon us, that just doesn't leave really a national tour for 2020. So which is too bad. Obviously, there's from a fan and a player perspective, and then there's a bonus and sponsorship perspectives and just overall PDGA rankings and all of those things get factored in, and it's gonna look like a very different year in the record books.
Yeah, I can't wait till we're doing this in 10 years. We look back, because we'll still be here in my basement in 10 years, and we look and go, wow, like why is 2020 so like, oh yeah, that whole stay-at-home thing.
Yeah, and I'll further that and say I think this continues to put Worlds in
jeopardy.
Keeps it in jeopardy. Yeah, with the fact that Utah is initially locked in and supposed to host it in June. It's certainly not happening in June. And now, will it fit into the schedule? Will there be a way to make it even remotely cohesive come September, August, September, October, whatever that time frame is, when everyone's in the Midwest or even all the way to the East Coast by that point? Will there be any logical or practical way to get everyone back over to Utah
and
to play in a different altitude and across the country? And are you kind of mad you're driving across the country?
And I know Jade over in Utah does not want to hear this, but I just feel like it makes the most sense for him to say, let's do it in 2021.
Yeah.
Just for all the logistic reasons. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe they'll figure something out that we don't know or can't see right now. And then find a spot for Worlds on the East Coast, whether it's the IDGC, whether it's Charlotte, whether it's Smugs. I've heard or made up word things about a lot of them.
Yeah.
And in general, that makes the most logistic sense. But we've done this before in the past. Worlds, before the tour was a cohesive thing, people would bounce to other sides of the country for the tour. It's the way it was, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I don't know how much tolerance we have for that anymore as a touring pro society.
Well, and as I just mentioned, you throw in the added component of elevation. I mean, it's not like going to just all of our other courses that we're already familiar with. Elevation, I'm just saying that's one more thing you're battling while you're there, and then you're playing 1 or 2 courses that one course is more established at Mulligan's. The Fort course isn't quite as established, so it's not like that's something they can play with their eyes closed that they've seen 1,000 other times. Those are just a few of the hurdles that might present themselves. Now, if they jump over them, and all the players and all the staff and all the crew and all the sponsors jump over them, SmashBoxx is right there to jump over it with them, and
we'll be there,
be there and be part of it in whatever capacity we can. But unfortunately, I think it just kind of keeps things in limbo that much longer. And then I think there's a bigger question is, if we'll say travel bans are lifted and travel is allowed, or it's allowed with certain provisions, does that eliminate or bring up our international competitors and that contingency? And then how much has to be factored into a Worlds that may or may not have international competitors? How concerned should we be of that?
Personally, and sorry to all the overseas people, but
Johnny,
I don't
say it in another language. It'll go easier. Okay.
It would be insulting to any other language I tried to do,
including the English.
Including English. I just don't think this year we should be, or we can, take overseas into account. Now, I would love to see the situation if Worlds had been planned overseas this year. That would be crazy. But because it's here in the US, I just feel like if we can find a way to make it happen in Utah or wherever, we have to not think about the overseas contingent. If they can make it, great. If they can't, better luck next year. And it will, more so on the we've discussed this, more so on the FPO side, it feels like it's going to be impactful because of the sheer number of competitors compared to the field in the FPO division, and the fact that we haven't really seen a consistent competitor from overseas compete with our MPO from the US. So ultimately, I don't think we're going to or have to take them into account this year. I think it's just understandable. You just kind of have to say, sorry, move on. Like, it's just bummer. I don't know what else to say other than bummer.
Yeah, and I guess my main component to that, or my main takeaway, is would we have had a consideration, would we have thought differently 10 years ago when we maybe didn't have as many international challengers in terms of people that could truly probably vie for the title? 10 years ago, we'd have been like, well, there's probably not a lot of people that really have a good chance or a likely chance of coming over and winning. Now, especially as you mentioned on the FPO side, not that MPO, I mean, there's obviously some solid MPO contenders, but on the FPO side, when you have Henna, Evelina, and Kristen, you're talking about 3 of the top 6 or 5 rated women in the world. I understand that they're contenders, but it's also interesting to think that 10 years ago, I mean, is this going to be a product of here and now? Because 10 years ago, if there weren't contenders, I don't think we would even second guess it and just be like, okay, well, that sucks. We're not going to have an international.
You're going to hear from Birgitta. She's going to be pissed. Or Jesper.
So
no, I know what you're saying.
So we'll see. Is all we can say. Of course, we know.
I hope everyone can make it over. I hope that whatever the timing is, things have travel has opened up and we can be safe and people can come over and they choose to. Because what can you do other than say, all right, we're going to have it at this time. If you can make it over, great. But, I mean, because international travel, I mean, it's not completely closed.
Well, and there's maybe some things with quarantines and such that have to take place. I guess I think about, I'd be curious to look at the numbers and say, what is our average or regular international...
Careful, Chuck will show up.
Our international average. And should we forego having a world championships because 12 people won't be making it, but 360 others will?
Would it devalue Worlds or USDGC if you had them back-to-back? Not back-to-back weekends, but maybe back-to-back events. You had Worlds, we'll just say, in mid-September, and then USDGC in early October when it's normally scheduled, assuming that everything goes off as planned. So you're saying they're
like 2 or 3 weeks apart?
Yeah, 2 weeks apart. Everybody have it probably, hopefully, would it devalue both of them? Would it devalue either of them? Would it, or does it not matter? I mean, Worlds traditionally for us was always in August, and
for many years.
For many years now, it's kind of been fluctuant. Is that a word? Fluctuating.
I don't know if it's been
fluctuant. I mean, we had it in June. We've seen it in July. We've seen it in August. It's always been a summer month for the most part, but it's. I don't know. I don't know if it would devalue them. And I've heard some people say, well, you should just play USDGC and then call that person winner US and I'm like, I don't like that idea.
No, I don't like that idea.
I saw that floated from somebody, but I think you need a separate events. Yeah. But I don't know if it would. I don't know if either of them would feel slighted then, or does that benefit a player who happens to be hot at that particular moment? Do you care? Yeah. I personally don't, but those are things that are going to get thrown out there. So
yeah, well, we'll continue to watch and keep you guys updated as best as we hear as to what's going on. I've under the impression we're going to hear another update from the PDGA. It seems like they've been, I know they gave us one in March and April. And
I think I saw the last one was May 6th.
Okay.
On the
was it that recent?
I saw something. I'm sorry. That was the frequently asked questions that were updated to May 6th. I'm looking at the PDGA. Otherwise, it was April 17th.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we're going to see and hear from the PDGA with some form of an update. Of course, just
it's about time for that monthly update.
Yeah, and generically speaking, every different state has a slightly different position that they're in with regards to opening, allowing things, not allowing things, whether that be tournaments or businesses.
Our county just opened up disc golf parks.
Yeah.
And then didn't put in any baskets.
No, so I think there's a clarification to that, although I know I argued about it the other night. Here in Milwaukee County in Wisconsin, we have a county park system that has been very good to us throughout many years. And I think on Thursday or Friday night, I saw them post and say the disc golf courses will be open this weekend. And then as I read further, and it said you have to adhere to all the social distancing and all that other stuff. As I read more, I then I made a joke about it because I was under the impression they're opening the course but not putting the baskets in. I think if you reread that, it sounded like they were putting up the poles, but not the actual baskets.
Not the actual bass catching devices. See, I had this discussion with somebody.
I do have to double check
that I think it would be a good idea to have just the top part of the basket with the chains and the pole. Don't have the catching device, so your disc hits the chains and falls to the ground. Make it object-style golf, and we play like that for a few months. Now, again, this is we're getting about the time when we should be opening up courses in this area anyway. But if we didn't open up for another week or 2 or 3, I wouldn't be too sad. And there are other places in our area to play. I know a friend of ours has been going up north a little bit further. There's a place just 15 minutes south of here in Abendschein that I've gone to. So, anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to...
we'll figure it out.
I'll have to get to the bottom of that. But I feel like if you're going to put in anything, don't put in the upper entrapment because it can still get caught in the chains. Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking that route, I could see putting in the pole, but...
at that point, I wouldn't put in a pole.
Either would I. But
just because I think you're going to get people that are going to be upset and maybe damage the pole, bend the pole. That makes it probably that much easier to even wreck the devices. I feel like the top part of the contraption, yes, your disc can get caught in the chain still, and maybe that's something you just you deal with. But for the most part, the disc should probably hit and fall out. The percentages of them catching in the chains are lower, but
I'm not sure a basket helps you much anyway.
Basket probably, just get me near the chains, man.
That's all you need, man. All right, guys, we are going to call the regular show. We'll call it quits here for tonight. If you're newer here, which I think we have a few new people tonight, most of the heavy lifting, dare we call it, or the real disc golf business is going to be concluded. I have to laugh even when I say that phrase. But we're going to wrap things up here for the regular part of our show. We usually stand down for just a couple of minutes, kind of get ready to go. We get ready to go. And then we have what's called an after show. In the after show, we largely interact with the chat that's coming in from the YouTube page, maybe a little bit from the Facebook page as well. So if you have direct questions or topics that you want us to talk about or maybe expand upon, we can do that there. Also in our after show is when we have a giveaway. So if you're a Patreon supporter of SmashBoxxTV, you are automatically entered into a weekly giveaway where then we send you out some free stuff. So that always happens in the after show as well. So of course we invite you to stick around with a little 1 or 2 minute intermission between now and then. And then when these get released in an audio podcast format, they come out in 2 separate releases, thanks to Johnny V's work.
Yep. So after show comes out on Fridays. Patreon supporters, they get the entire show in audio format immediately tonight before I go to bed.
I like it. So thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. We're going to wrap up the regular show, as I just mentioned. We have to thank Dana Vicich for joining us. We got to thank Disc Golf Nerd, along with CCDG's very own Ian Anderson. All of our super chatters out on the board, we appreciate the support there, along with everyone that's played along in the chat board. We look forward to talking to you more and hearing more from you in the after show. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been SmashBoxxTV Podcast 297. We'll see you in the after show. You step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 297.
After show. You let me handle that one, huh?
You
Thanks.
nailed it. That might be the first time ever.
Yeah, you just didn't even join in.
I didn't.
Kind of rude.
All grown up, Johnny. You got that one on your
Oh,
own.
thanks.
Knocked it out of the park.
Out of the park.
Welcome, everyone. As we said, this is the SmashBoxxTV after show. Not quite anything goes, but pretty close. We may or may not be talking disc golf. So if you got a disc golf topic, question, point of reference, we'd love to hear it. But we sometimes get off on other random tangents that may be related to news, entertainment, sports, not usually politics, not usually religion, taxes. We talk a lot of no, I'm just kidding.
A lot of taxes.
We don't talk taxes.
We talk a lot of taxes here.
Talking taxes.
Talking taxes.
That's what we're doing here. So I'm going to go out, check in with our YouTube board. As many of you saw or know, we we just had Disc Golf Nerd, who has put out hundreds of videos reviewing disc golf discs. We've also had Ian from Central Coast join us. And one thing we didn't talk about too extensively during the regular show is the fact that right now the Disc Golf Pro Tour is working on a putting challenge championships with, I think, added money. I don't know if there's, let's say there's $5,000 added, so they probably should add $5,000
Millions
now.
of add.
No,
Millions,
but I think a significant amount of money was added to it, and I believe our players are currently going through the process of getting into the preliminary rounds. And do you know if it was randomly put together in the bracket?
No, it was seeded. It was seeded by
Okay.
last year's putting percentages. I don't exactly know the formula, but I thought I saw C1 plus C2 percentage or something.
Okay.
And so that's how they were seeded 1 through 64, 60, 68, because they had 2 play-in games, just like the March Madness.
Wow. Okay. So that is something that's going on right now. And I think as early as this week is when we will see some of those matches unfold. And I think the plan is Thursday, Friday, Saturday is when we're going to see a live broadcast. Mo from the Disc Golf Pro Tour is going to be doing some of the show switching. And I know him and Jeff Spring. I had a conversation. They said they would maybe like some insight from me.
Ooh.
Not many people say that, so I don't know what they were thinking.
I've never said it, so.
Nope. But we'll see as that unfolds. But I believe it's taking place this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the conclusion of it, I believe, is next week. So be looking for that. Little putting action. I mean, is there anyone you're gonna throw out there, Johnny, as a dark horse or as a sleeper or
I don't know who's
front
all
runner?
I don't know who's all in it, but you have to assume Paul McBeth's a front runner. He's a number 1 seed.
Okay.
I think Yeti.
Okay. Assuming
I saw he was in the play-in bracket at one point.
I was gonna say because I don't think he would have earned an invite because he didn't play enough Pro Tour events in previous years.
So. Yeah, I believe he was in one of the playoff ones, or play-in ones. Matt Bell, I think, could be a really good option. Obviously, you have to go with Ricky. I mean,
Sure.
Most of our top players are top players for a reason. But yeah, I think Yeti might be a sleeper. I mean, he's not an MPO name anymore, but he has a lot of putting experience and putting world titles under his belt. So you can't, and it's not like his age is going to hamper him in the putting areas.
Not at all. So we'd love to hear out on the board after you hit the little like button, but we'd love to hear if you have someone that maybe you're projecting. I mean, you can look really, really smart because in 2 or 3 weeks, you could go back and be like, see right here at the 2 hour and 30 minute mark, I told the world that so-and-so is going to win the putting championships.
Hamas, that I see some people on the board. Yes, he could be a contender.
So I'm looking. If you go out to discgolfscene.com, you can find it out there as they all are listed and registered through there. Adam Hammis, Albert Tom. I love the fact that we've got international contingency here.
Yeah.
So I see him. Cameron Messerschmidt, who has been rated the #1 Circle 2 putter for last year.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the length of these putts, and I know they're going to vary them up, you have to assume that Cam has a distinct advantage there. You see, I think of a Chris Dickerson jumps out at the board, jumps off the board at me. He's pretty dang good. You mentioned Yeti. Josh Anthon is in the mix.
I didn't realize he was in the mix. Does
that change your answer?
Well, I don't have an answer. I threw out some names, but Anthon should be up there in the mix. He's extremely accurate.
Matt Dollar, he's got a bunch of baskets in his backyard. I think he's been practicing quite hard. Nate Perkins has been on a private course for weeks here, putting at every different basket you can find. So so it would be good. And of course, the Ricks, the battle of the Ricks, Ricky Wysocki and Rick Steeler. And I think Rick Steeler took down a GBO putting competition not too many years ago.
Was that against Ricky maybe even?
At one point Ricky got eliminated. So Rick Steeler's in the mix. So Thomas Gilbert. So,
clearly.
Any odds on Simon Lizotte?
Any odds?
Yeah, you think he's
No. I don't necessarily think that he is.
Ouch. Say it in German.
I don't understand. No. No, if he was doing a bunch of putting videos right now, I would be like, oh, that could be kind of cool. But he's not. He's doing more driving and course videos. I don't know how much time he's put on the putting green. So I don't necessarily know if he is going to be as warmed up as maybe some of these other players are. But I could be completely wrong. And if he won, it wouldn't shock me. There's not a name on there that if someone won, I would be like, whoa, that person won?
Oh, you're just being way too nice.
That's not true. Drew Gibson.
Wow. Oh, don't make
kidding.
him throw a
I only say
disc
that
at our TV.
I only say that because he's the only name there without a PDGA number by it.
Yeah,
and it just popped out.
A little odd. On the women's side, I will quickly say, and Control F confirms it, I don't see Paige Pierce on the list. And that's kind of surprising.
So who's going to be the pick there? I'm looking at, like, you've got Elaine King, Ellen Widboom,
Haley King, Heather Young, who's playing in her backyard with all of her siblings, Holly Finley, Madison Walker, Jennifer Allen, Missy Gannon.
Zoe's got to be an odds-on favorite. She won the putting championship, World Championship a couple years ago,
and as has Missy Gannon.
Mm-hmm.
So Missy Gannon has to be in the mix, considered to be in the mix right there. So kind of interesting. We don't have Evelina, Henna, Kristen, nor Paige, nor Katrina. So what is that? The top 5 women in the world, roughly, I think.
Yeah.
None of them opted in to participate. So here's a chance to go out and win a new title. Seth Fenley from the Disc Golf Pro Tour, we'll say bonus finance committee, giving out all the money. He says 5,000 added cash to the event.
Ooh. That came right out of Seth's paycheck. That was unfortunate for him, but
thank you, Seth. That's very generous of you. So, wow, that should be pretty exciting. And he's also clarifying that, yes, there will be C1 and C2 putts that will be part of it. Which,
or that's how they were rated. That's how they ranked, C1 plus and C2 combined. How they were.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know the format, but.
There's also a bracket challenge. Infinite has a $250 gift card for the winners. So get in on it, people. Head out to dgpt.com, and I'm sure you'll find your information. Wednesday will be the play-in round.
It took me a second, because when you said that, I thought, what are these players going to do with $250 gift certificate to Infinite Disc? And then I thought, oh no, definitely he's talking about like a pick 'em, like
people,
a bracket,
like other people
picking
playing.
them. And I'm like, that's a silly thing to throw at the winner. I just
no, I mean,
no, it would have
they
been.
could pick up a few towels. They could use a new stool or a
completely
umbrella.
like went over my head. I was like, wow,
won't be the last time tonight. All right, what else is new? And we'll continue to watch the chat board. But anything else new or exciting? And wow, before you answer that, I'll just say Emily Garner asked about Paige. There's no Paige. There's no Paige Pierce or Paige Shoe in this competition, and yeah, that's certainly too bad. Okay, anything new outside of
outside of disc golf? Finished rewatching all the Marvel movies. Finally, we were stuck at the last 4 or 5 of them for like we just kind of stopped watching for a month. I'm listening to podcasts a lot. I want to watch The Mandalorian behind the scenes. They've got like 8 episodes of, I think one for each actual episode of behind the scenes stuff. I think that looks pretty cool. Just working a lot.
Are you working a lot though, or are you just working? Because
I'm working a lot.
I'm going to go ahead and say I would highly doubt you're working any more than pre-COVID.
No, I definitely am.
You're working more than pre-COVID.
I mean, not time and hours, but definite effort.
Not time and hours. Okay.
Like definite effort. Like
I mean,
when you
I mean I'm losing weight, not pounds or inches, but I'm losing weight.
Pre-COVID, I kind of had things down pat. Like there wasn't a lot of extra work to be done. We occasional projects, but after this, now suddenly we've got our workforce 50-50 split. And people are having all sorts of weird little issues because they're working from home and they can't get access to this. So I'm putting in a lot more effort. And then just like yesterday, we had at our headquarters down in Racine, we had a major switch die. We had a spare. Solid job by me.
Tell me it was broke as well.
Nope, but almost as bad. So I go to Racine, figure out like, oh crap, this switch is bad. I've got a spare, but it's in Milwaukee. No big deal. Drive to Milwaukee. Grab it, drive back.
45-minute drive each way.
45-minute drive each way.
Yep.
Not too bad. It's like, it sucks, but whatever. Put it in the rack. Go back to plug it in. Oh, hey. This one has a proprietary plug. Not your standard. Most of them have a standard computer plug, like you plug into a desktop. The funny shape, whatever. Not quite
like a Cat 5?
No. Like a power. Like a thicker desktop,
okay,
like the black cord that would go into a
like
monitor as well.
Plug,
well, this is the exact same thing, except it has a notch down the center. So you can't put a regular one in there.
Oh, wow. So they want their plug
want their plug. So I was like,
get a saw out and start sawing
I
into
thought
that cable.
about getting a Dremel, like just dremeling out. And I was like, no, wait, I bet you I have the power plug back in Milwaukee somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove back to Milwaukee. I look around, finally find one. Like, oh yeah, good. I do have one, because I think what I ended up doing is taking the one that came with it that has the notch, which will work in any other computer, unlike vice versa, and I gave it away to somebody who needed it. So I couldn't find it. So I found an adapter actually. And at that point it was like 4:15, and I'm like, you know what? They can wait till tomorrow. So this morning I got up early, went down to Racine with the right plug and adapter, got it all set up, switched a bunch of cables, and we were all back up and running by 8 a.m. So I've been putting in a little bit more effort than I have had to in the past. Just little things like that. And it's, which sucks because our Racine office is where all of our network equipment is. So everyone that was remote, that normally dialed in, couldn't dial in because that's where the VPN concentrator was. So yesterday was I had like 200 unread emails that I literally just deleted. I didn't look at them. And I said, if you sent me something not related to this, resend it, please. Because I'm not looking. I'm not digging through everybody's email to figure out, oh, this thing didn't work for me, and that didn't work for me, because it was all the same crap.
Wow.
So ultimately it was just, I went to bed early last night so I could get up early this morning. And I was going to go to the dump to drop off. We had a picnic table in the back. And finally it had been kind of just, we've had it for 12 years. normally during the winter we'll cover it up or flip it over and cover it up. Well, this year, the past couple of years, it started to rot out because it's old, and I was just like, I didn't bother flipping it over, and we didn't have a bad winter, but ultimately the wood was already too far gone. So this weekend I tore it all apart, broke it in half, whatever I need to do, put it in the back of my wife's car because the dump opens on Tuesdays. It's not open on Mondays. So I drove over there this morning at 7 a.m. to drop it off, and there was a line probably a half mile long because everyone does their stuff on the weekend.
Yep.
It opens up Tuesday, and I went, yeah, no, thank you. So I came back here early today. I got back here about 2 o'clock, got in the car, my wife's car, went to go drop it off thinking, all right, the line should be gone now. Still
Same people.
Same people. No, it was like a half hour to 40-minute wait. So I just waited in my car until, got in. Took, I think, under a minute for me to unload it from the car into the dump and then drive out.
That's when you just throw it at somebody else's car.
I thought about just leaving it in your yard, but
King Heiser out on the board asks thoughts on the Avocado Open. I don't know if we did or didn't talk about it last week, but I cannot.
Oh, maybe we touched on it.
We might have, and all I can say is I don't watch a lot of post-production coverage really by anyone. Sorry, Ian. Sorry, everyone else. I just don't watch a lot. I did see some of the Avocado Open that Paige and her crew had put together. Of course, I thought it was great. I texted her. I said the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And
did you nitpick and tell them all the different places?
No. No, I just got really rude in the comments. I created a couple new logins, and then I just figured if you want the real experience of being a content producer, some jackass has to come on to your video and just be an absolute jerk in the comment section. So, of course, I left a few of those. You're welcome, Paige. But I up until recently, I only realized that round one front and back were up. And I know they've since then released round two's front and back. I have not participated or spectated or viewed any of it whatsoever as part of round two. Round one looked great. I assumed round two looked just as good. I was gonna say as good or better.
Yeah, the graphics you can tell they're all the PSP graphics. They're the exact same style, just a different skin or color, so to speak. So it looks like they worked with the guys over at PSP to get that done, which is awesome. And looks like they had a lot of sponsors, and
everything looked good, and
it looked good. I mean, you and I watched it. We could, you can nitpick some of the editing a little bit, but for like one of the first times, if it was Paige and Alyssa and Nate that did the editing and stuff, that's a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, they killed it.
I thought it was well done. Again, I watched just about as much as you did.
Yeah, exactly. So get out there, watch it. Hope you guys are enjoying it. It's fresh content, and I don't want to sound too whiny, but I'm glad it's content that's not a challenge, and that's no diss on any of the challenges. I think we've seen a lot of them, and
I feel like they're dying out. Like we haven't seen one in like a week or two at least.
Yeah, and again, consuming disc golf productions just simply aren't for me. So that's a full-fledged disclaimer. When I'm used to seeing certain things in person, being at events, and then I have the luxury and challenge of both filming and then editing myself, watching other disc golf content just generally does not appeal to me. Almost no matter who it is or what it is, it just doesn't do much for me. But yeah, it was great to see some recent disc golf that just happened, to see what they did on it, and they did a great job. So,
and I don't know, like I'm having a hard time getting excited about some of the rewatch stuff that everybody seems to be doing. I've seen
like our remix, those suck.
No, at least the remix was a little bit. It was a little different, and it kind of falls into that same category, but at least it's mixed up, and I'm not trying to pat us on the back by any means because we don't deserve it. But just in general, I'm like, I get it. Everyone's got to go through their vault and pull out some old things and rewatch them, and that's kind of what everyone has right now. I would rather watch the challenge videos personally. Those have a little bit more interest. I feel like, and we're in that boat too, that we're missing out, that we should be seeing different content. I just, and it's easy to say and it's hard to do, but I feel like we're missing the boat on being able to seeing some really cool disc golf stuff right now. And I think the challenges started out that way, and some of them are whatever. But I think there is some potential that we're just not tapping, or maybe there's not, and I can hope that there is. All I want, I mean, we're doing a game night, which isn't revolutionary. We did that a while ago. There's, as I said, that's I've seen other people do trivia nights and stuff like that. So as fun as it is for us to get together and do it, I don't think that's anything out of the ordinary. I feel like there could be or should be some stuff that we should be seeing, and we're not. And I'm not sure.
As someone just pointed out on the board that Blue Boy had said, Simon is up to $2,000 a month on his Patreon. He's like the Ferris Bueller of disc golf, and I'll just copy what I said on the board. I said the funniest part is his contract is better than 99.99% of the disc golf media and the other disc golfers out there. He's just simply the king. Yeah, he's got that it factor, as they say. It's great what he's been doing. It feels like he's been setting and then resetting the bar for this content that he's really taken the lead on with putting out there. That's not disc golf coverage. He's taken the lead on that. And
I hope other or maybe not. Do you think other disc golfers who have had Patreons are looking at it and going like, seriously? What the crap? Like, I've had a Patreon for 2 years and I've got $32 a month, and then Simon, he's got $2,000 a month. Or are we going to see more disc golfers be like, oh, I can do that too. I should. And when they only get $66 a month, it'd be like, what the crap? I think Simon is an anomaly because he's putting in the effort, very, very hard to do on a consistent basis. He came on here and talked about it. And in general, he's entertaining. He's likable. He's got every quality you want to watch in spades.
Yeah, he's it's great to see and excited to watch as the content continues to build out there. Speaking of game night, quick update to that. The last week we had a very, very fun night that featured 4 of our competitors came out of the same household. So that was a lot of fun. We had Paige Shue, her husband Grady Shue. We also had Doug Bjerkes and Doug's wife and Paige's mom, Noemi Bjerkes, all joined us. They all came. They were coming in from the same house in Emporia. And then also coming in from Colorado, Louisville, Colorado, we had Jeff Hungerford. Jeff Hungerford is PDGA 688. He's been around from the early beginnings. I've also had the pleasure of traveling and visiting some crazy places with Jeff. He was most recently in Thailand. Actually, I referenced him earlier as he performed well in Thailand for a second year in a row. He's retired from his full-time career and now has been playing. You've seen him playing MPO, although he's eligible for a few divisions older than that. You've seen him at some Disc Golf Pro Tour events, even playing MPO when it fits into his schedule and what he's been doing, as he's also one of the longest throwers in his age group. I think he won World's Distance a couple years ago for his age group. So they all joined. It was a lot of fun. Game night number 6 is what it was, and so we hope that you tune in. Game night number 7 will take place this upcoming Thursday, so a little less than 48 hours from now. And we haven't fully locked in all of our contestants for that night, but I'm sure we'll assemble a great group for you guys, and you can play along with us. It's basically a question or a statement is put up on. Sometimes you have to complete the statement, complete the sentence, and do it in a funny or clever way. The contestants among us all vote along with the audience that's playing along, and you guys can directly impact the scoring mechanism and the outcome of the game. So we hope that you can join us on Thursday night for game night.
Can I be a grumpy old man for a second?
Sure.
Facebook, the other thing I'm sick of.
Mm-hmm.
People's 10 albums.
10 pictures, 10 albums.
10 sports people, 10 whatever, and posting like one a day.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Just post all 10. Right, one day. I don't need to sit.
Then it doesn't drag out.
Exactly. I don't need it drug out. Just give me if you have 10 albums you love, cool, post them all.
Yeah, but then you're out of content the next day.
Do a new list of 10. I'm so over it. And I just looked at it, I'm like, another one. Like, I thought you were better than that person. Like, but no.
I will take those, and I promise you guys I won't go off on a rant.
I will. I mean,
but
they're better than
those any day over the stupid conspiracy theory posts
Agreed.
I keep seeing. So
100% agree.
Yeah,
but
I would someday I will be begging for those lists of 10 to come back instead of the stupid conspiracy theory stuff I see.
I just look at one and I saw one. I was like, oh yeah, I like that album too. I wonder what. Like, oh, cool. No, I guess maybe I'll wait for 10 days while they give me like. No, I'm not, because odds are the way Facebook works, I'm not going to see it in my feed. Jerks.
That's why you got to like it.
No, I'm not going to do that. And so I'm, yeah. So that's my bitter old man. I would just give me all 10 right now. All 10. One post.
All right. Reading off the board, Cody says something about, sorry, let's go back up here a little bit. Simon likes living in America. He wants to be a part. Fair enough. Okay. Terry, can you give Paige my phone number?
No. Whoever you are, Chris.
Probably not, unless... No, I was gonna say unless you
can reach out to her on Facebook and send
you
her
have
your
a disc
number
of hers. No, and then no, I don't think that would be a good idea. Or here's what I'll do: send me your phone number. I will forward it on to her, but it may not be in the same order. So
here's 10 digits.
I promise to give her all 10 of the digits. And to be frank, I don't know which page. Maybe you're. Speaking of Paige Shue, maybe you're speaking of Paige Pierce, but
I'm pretty sure it's Pierce because he had mentioned Nate as well.
And then a follow up to that was, or are her and Nate a thing? And they are not. Nate and
we know you're joking around, Chris. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Nate and Alyssa are dating. Alan Risley asked, "Do you guys have questions for me about the goat?"
What's the goat's name? Does it give you milk?
When is it going to happen would be my question. And who's going to be there? And do they serve Blue Moon ice cream there? Those are my only concerns. And I'm going to say no probably on the Blue Moon ice cream, which really disappoints me. Facebook is the new MySpace.
Yeah, I mean, there's
how long? You've been around a while.
Thanks. Nice way of saying I'm old.
Yep. And
I'm good with that.
You're also in the computer technology world, profession, and side work and everything else. When do you feel like Facebook will be, I'll say, legitimately
MySpace
replaced? Yeah. When will it be irrelevant or replaced? And then I say we put that year on your calendar and then we check back in, because I think that would be a great checkpoint. When do you think that will be?
I honestly, it's going to be so hard because it's such a weird perspective. I think you're looking at another 10 years of Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Just because they have such a dominant force and they have so many things tied into them, and you're always going to have, the olds. Your kids aren't going to be on Facebook, probably ever. I mean, they might. My son just has now a Facebook Messenger for Kids account. My wife set him up today, and but he'll probably never log into Facebook. I mean, he doesn't log into any social media at this point, which I'm happy about. But I think we've got at least another 10 years before the kids that are our kids' age right now look at it like, nobody uses that, Dad. How come you still use that? And it's like, oh, because I've got this group that I'm still a part of. It'll be like Yahoo Groups. Yeah. It's like, oh no, this is where all the Innova Wraith CE collectors hang out. I need to be here. And everyone be like, yeah, okay, old man. And I'm guessing 10 years. That's
10 years.
So we've got 10 more years of Facebook probably. And even then, my guess is that one of the next social medias will probably be owned by the parent company. It just won't be Facebook, like Instagram.
It'll be a fancier version of
something,
or a new and improved version of Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
No, I don't have an original thought on it. Honestly, it's just a question that came to mind: is when do we think it will be gone? So what? Facebook came along 2005 ish.
Somewhere around there.
I feel like I looked
maybe
it up
later
too
than
long
that.
It wasn't too much longer than that because I feel like it was around for the. Oh no.
No, I think.
Look, start Facebook start. I'll type that in. February 4th, 2004.
That's when it
launched.
That's when it launched. Most people were not on.
Oh, correct.
Until
and I know
2008, 2009.
Okay.
But
all right, so I'll go totally off the rails to a totally different topic and question, which I posed on my Facebook today, and I wasn't trying to set this up at all. But random question for you is, which comedians do you feel like have the widest, most diverse appeal?
Biggest or most diverse?
Most diverse, not biggest.
Okay.
I don't care about quantity. I care about.
Because I was going to say, like, you have a Jim Gaffigan who is very popular, but I don't necessarily think diverse is the word I would use for him.
Yep.
Dave Chappelle. Everybody loves Chappelle, no matter who you are.
Okay.
I think Kevin Hart, probably. He appeals to a lot of people. Trying to think of who has Netflix specials, because that would probably be right in there.
Seinfeld just wrapped one, I think, or released, or no?
Seinfeld has a big thing, but I would not. I wouldn't necessarily call it diverse.
And that's what honestly.
That's my
seeing
thought,
that
like,
he was in the midst of wrapping one, or he's going to be releasing one soon. That's what honestly brought up the question, because I thought of how he is arguably one of the richest, most successful comedians, not just from doing stand up. I realize that, but just I think about the we'll say base, his crowd. If you could pan the crowd at for any of these large scale comedians,
it would be 35-year-olds and up. For a couple of reasons. One
ethnicity, or two.
All white.
Yeah.
And
that's what
all white.
That's what led me to this question, and I know it's
for the most part,
incredibly random, but that's what led me to this question. Is when I think about the success of any of these comedians, and then I think about, well, how wide is their appeal? And I don't care about if they're critically acclaimed. I don't care how much money they've made. I don't care how many specials they necessarily have. I'm saying how truly diverse is their audience.
I think you have to say Chappelle is the number one. And he appeals to everybody. He insults pretty much everybody. He seems to be loved by almost everybody. I think he is the most, and probably the biggest. He might be the biggest name in comedy. Right. Yeah, I think he's the biggest name in comedy right now.
Right now. Okay.
If you lined up every comedian and said, who are you paying the most to go see? It's probably most people are going to say him. I think, like, if you put him in a ranking system, and that might not be the case for you or me or whomever. I would pay to go see him. He was just in Milwaukee too, which is funny, and I didn't make any effort to it. But I think that is, I think you have to say Chappelle.
And on I was gonna say the FPO side, on the women's side, is there anyone that
don't know a lot of female comedians, to be honest? Ali Wong, I think she's pretty big right now. I mean, as far as TV, and she's got a Netflix special, I believe. I'm trying to think. People still listen to Paula Poundstone? Not since the 80s.
I don't think so.
Sorry.
Right after they listen to Rosie O'Donnell do stand up,
that's
or
right.
Roseanne Barr do her stand up, possibly, right? Yeah, probably not. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Ali Wong is the one person I think of right now, and that's only because I've seen her in a couple things. She was just in on Top Chef. She had her own TV series, or not her own. She was in a TV series. She's got her own Netflix special. I think that's the name to me that pops up right now.
Okay.
Someone says Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, and there's a few great names coming in on the board, and obviously there's no right or I'm sure somebody could figure out the right or wrong answers here. Not that I'm privy to any of those statistics. It was purely out of curiosity because for reasons that King Heiser put on the board, that I saw the mention of Seinfeld's new special. I also saw some less than amazing reviews, or heard people, and King Heiser said that the new special is disappointing. I've just seen that
For Seinfeld?
for Seinfeld's new special, and then that just got me thinking, like, what's his
the
audience
deal
like
with Seinfeld special?
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it suck?
So that's what got me thinking about what the crowds might look like in terms of the widest appeal. And I think there's an answer, and she doesn't do stand-up that often anymore. And I know she's maybe had a special or just released it not that long ago. Ellen.
Nope.
You don't think she has a diverse crowd?
I'm going to say not nearly as diverse as some of the other ones.
Okay.
I mean, I think she now mostly appeals to middle-class white women. I don't think there is a hardly anybody in the male gender. We're not a genre, we're a gender, who would be really that excited to go see an Ellen show. Like if she was
an Ellen show or an Ellen stand-up
comedy. I don't think she draws that anymore. She might have back in the early 90s. There might have been more when she was a little bit more edgy. I mean, she's never been really that edgy, but a little bit more. And I don't think she has that appeal, honestly. I think she now fits into your afternoon talk show host. Like, just that's her gig, and I think that's who she's appealing to. I don't know.
So something I think another suggestion that came in off my page, so I'm not original in saying it. Again, I don't think you would say he necessarily he's got a huge podcast following in Joe Rogan, but I know he's got all of the background, and he does stand up from time to time. I was thinking about like more frequent people that you might be seeing in a special, or someone that's commonly on some form of tour is who I was trying to pull from. But Joe Rogan certainly got mentioned a lot. And Joe Rogan clearly,
I think he could be up there as far as diversity and size of thing, just because of the podcast. I don't necessarily think he, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So this could be completely mutually exclusive from the other thought that I had when thinking about YouTube subscriber base and channels. And Joe Rogan, I had to just type it into, and I know YouTube is not his primary platform. I understand all of that. I'm not totally dumb. But he's got like 8 or 9 million followers or subscribers. I think of people like Trevor Noah, or specifically The Daily Show, a few million subscribers, so on and so forth. As I was looking at a few of the subscriber bases, and then to see, and I guess I don't know if Dave Chappelle, again, I know everyone's on different platforms, to see that Ellen...
I doubt Dave Chappelle even has a YouTube page.
Yeah, or he probably does not have his own. If it was, it wouldn't be from him. It would be somebody else, maybe some company. I think about Joe Rogan. I think about all these other people. And then you go to Ellen's YouTube, who's been on it probably from day one in terms of her show and adopting early. 35 million subscribers.
Yeah. But look at what does Jimmy Kimmel have?
I'm going to say...
Tonight Show?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think Kimmel and Fallon...
Or Fallon. That's the one I was thinking.
8 to 10.
Yeah, I was thinking Fallon more so than Kimmel, but...
I'm going to say Kimmel... Whoops. Oh, sorry. Kimmel, I saw 16.7 million. Again, this is maybe all a worthless task in that YouTube is not everyone's platform. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is 24.9.
Okay.
Now, I'll be the first to admit, I don't know if that was
that's
carried over from being the previous Tonight Show or if they started that from scratch with him when he took over.
But is the Ellen one? Is that Ellen's page, or is that basically her show Ellen? Because I mean, it's the Ellen show.
Sure, I see. Yeah, so yeah, you can toss all of my concept out then.
Okay, good.
You're right.
I know. I mean that's clearly the people bring the personality brings in some of the people, but I think I mean
yeah. Never mind. Ignore the whole YouTube portion of that conversation.
I'll just edit that out. No, I won't.
There you go. I see David John, normally coming out of North Carolina. However, he's been in Thailand. I don't know how many months you've been there, David, but I guess if there's a place to be locked in, he says good morning from Koh Phangan. I'm not sure how to pronounce that island, but good morning, David John. Hope you're doing well. Last time I saw him, he was in Koh Samui. Shout out to all of our friends over there in Koh Samui. I know that Koh Samui disc golf is up and running. You can get pizza. You can play the course again. Sometimes I wish I was back there. Ryan Pilcher says Rogan has been consistently putting out specials and does live shows regularly. Really?
Yeah, I know he's.
I've under the impression he goes like locally. Maybe I just misunderstood. I thought he was almost exclusively would show up at the local LA scene and do occasional comedy night on any one of those nights, but I did not know he was fully on tour. So shows how much I know.
Mm-hmm.
David John says I've been here since January 13th. Yeah. Sounds like a good place to be. Seth Finley says 6 minutes behind. Poundstone has a podcast that I listen to actually.
Hey,
Paula Poundstone. Timeless.
You know,
good pull on that one.
Thanks. She's my go-to female comedian. Like just because growing up in the Comedy Central days, I watched a ton of stand-up. Like just from the time I was probably 10 years old until the time I was 18 and I left the house to go to college, I watched Comedy Central all the time. And that's when they actually had a ton of stand-up where you would have like, oh, here's a 20-minute set from Caroline's. Here's a 20-minute set from, and I would just sit and watch all these comedians. And Paula Poundstone in her slacks and her pantsuit, just she was always a staple on Comedy Central or the Comedy Channel back before it was Comedy Central even. And I told the story a couple weeks ago. I used to stay up really late and watch Comic Relief whenever it was on HBO because it would be free or they would simulcast it, and it was that thing I loved growing up. I loved stand up, and I still enjoy it, but I feel like it's harder to find now. It's not just on a television station so much anymore, where you could watch late night and catch whatever stand up comedian they have. Otherwise, you kind of need to dig around at YouTube to find like, all right, well, who are the up and coming comedians and this and that. I think it's a little harder to find than it was when there was an entire channel dedicated to showing you, everything from Carlin to Bill.
Billy Crystal?
No, not Billy. Well, Billy Crystal was one.
Eddie Murphy?
No.
Bill
no.
Engel?
No.
Ingvall?
No. Someone's gonna. He died. Many years ago. Bill. Damn it.
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Someone's gonna spit it out.
All right, Cody is saying SmashBoxxTV and the Disc Golf Guy minus the weirdness.
Bill Hicks. Like he was one of my favorites, and just
Where is he?
Comedian Bill Hicks. Bill Burr has probably got to be up there as far as comedians. I bet, and diversity and everything. He seems to like he would fit that profile. I don't know his.
I was gonna say I think he's really. I know he's incredibly popular.
Yeah.
How diverse he is, that I couldn't speak to, or should I say his audience? I'm not sure how much they are. Cody had said SmashBox and Disc Golf Guy minus the weirdness. I give all radio talk to Howard Stern again minus the garbage. Jeff Ross Sarah Silverman. See, yeah. I mean, again, I think some of these people can be really popular.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think, a matter of how diverse they are.
Thank you, Tim Courts. Yeah, he spit up Bill Hicks as well, which is exactly who I was thinking. Just one of my absolute favorites.
All right. So, anything else in the world of disc golf, challenges, gossip, sales, new discs, new products?
No, there's no disc golf news.
Really?
There's not.
We talked in the regular show. We kind of
talked
touched on the new courses.
The UC Island, I'm going to call it.
UC Island. And that's located where again?
Between Finland and Sweden, I think.
Okay.
UC Island. So, yeah, there's really not disc golf, like extra disc golf stuff. We touched on the few points that we had and that are out there.
Okay. Huge shout out. 1 year younger in her mind. Hannah Macbeth celebrating her birthday today.
She's 38 now?
She might be closer to 40.
She might be close. Okay. I knew it was up there.
I just saw that pop up on my Facebook feed. So
happy birthday. Hannah.
Happy birthday to Hannah Macbeth. And I'm not going to spoil any news except that she's working on something, which is great to hear. I think she's got a few things in the mix, and that's as much as I can say. I didn't speak to her directly. I spoke to people who know her,
people who know people.
Get in touch with her, but I do know that she is working on some stuff. So
I try to talk to her, but she always blocks me with her people. Like I can't get through her people.
I could understand. I could certainly understand that. All right. Well, while we're rambling on, why don't you fire up the super random generator?
Wow, there it is.
So that we can do our giveaway here tonight. Again, to be eligible to win something on our weekly podcast that we hold at least once a week in terms of the giveaway. Sometimes we have even bonus stuff. But if you are a Patreon subscriber at any level of our podcast, you are automatically entered into this drawing to be part of it. Most weeks we will randomly generate a number that corresponds with the spreadsheet that Johnny V downloads during the show, and then we reach out to you and let you know that you get something coming your way for free. So, Johnny, let's do this.
All right. What do you want to do?
I say that, we're just going to assume Hannah's turning 40, and we'll add the 4 plus the 0. So I say the fourth number you generate.
You're answering for that one.
I'm so savage.
But not 192, not 107, not 127, but
please be
3.
40. It would have been great if it was 40.
3. I'm scrolling way up to the top, sorted by first name. Adam Uhrig, Uhrig. Right, so we will get that to you, and we'll get you something fun. So
yes.
Congratulations, Adam. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. I believe you are a Patreon supporter at the $10 level, and have been a Patreon supporter since November 14th of 2018.
Wow.
So
we love you more than most, Adam.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more we love.
That's right. My heart is infinitely big, as long as your pocketbook is.
We do appreciate the support from all of our
Everyone
Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Paul Ulibarri is out on the board saying he's got some content thing, YouTube Vimeo stuff.
I think he's doing TikToks again. No, I think that's...
Log into his TikTok. Go search for Paul Ulibarri on TikTok.
Yep.
He says he's doing some great instructional tutorials that way. Just log in for Paul Ulibarri, and then you have it's Paul Ulibarri heart. That's his login on TikTok, and you can find him there. Or if you must, you could log in to YouTube and see if you could find him there as well. Apparently, he's got a channel going. But check out some new content. I think he's up to his 4th or so video blog, instructional tutorial type thing that he's been putting out. So definitely check that out. As Tim Courts mentioned, no, we are not sponsored by random.org. Just where we go and find all the hottest numbers week in and week out.
That's where I get my digits from these days.
Okay. Anything else we should worry about?
I don't think so. I think we've covered most everything. You want to talk politics?
Yeah, we could.
Religion. How about
I'm
conspiracies.
I'm so getting into these conspiracy theories.
Well, the funny thing is, I saw you post something about it, and I just
Did you roll your eyes, shake your head,
no because
stand up and clap? What'd you do?
Because I know you, and I know there is a little bit of troll in you.
Oh yeah. Some days,
hands down. And I know how you feel about these conspiracy theories, that you're not pro conspiracy theory. I mean, you are, as much as I know, you coined the term the plandemic.
Yes, that was all me.
That was all you.
We'll just say it was.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
I have a camera.
And
I
got
have some
lights.
followers. I have lights. Whatever I pretty much say and then post to YouTube
Is the truth.
Is the truth, and there's a good chance it'll get taken down. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. All right? This isn't what the media, any of the other media outlets are telling you. There's only one person between me and the president. Just one person that I talk to, and then they talk to the president. But other than that, like, I have a direct line. I'm on a special task force.
Not only does he have a direct line, it holds any line.
Yes, it comes out of my hands so smooth.
Yeah, the conspiracies are the little domey.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a pop top.
Yeah, I'm telling you, people, you're not going to hear this anywhere else. So make sure you like and share and watch this video, because it's probably going to get taken down because they don't want the truth out there. But I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to take about 6 to 10 minutes of rambling about stupid stuff. And then I'm going to give you the truth that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Don't mind my channel with 900 followers. And also I don't know. There's not necessarily just an outfit anymore. I kind of feel like we need somebody to put together the conspiracy theory meme
playbook.
Yeah, the conspiracy theory meme starter pack of what it all includes, along with all of those incredible sayings. That's usually, just let me link you over to Alex. He'll explain the rest. Gosh.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Ryan says that Murder Mike's meme about the plandemic is pretty funny. You can certainly go check those out. Check them out before they're taken down. Chris asks, yes, can you two shoot a friendly round together?
There's nothing friendly about it when we shoot together. When was the last time we played a round together? Was that
wow,
last winter? Did we play a round together out at Dretska? Were you there? No, maybe you weren't there. I
probably wasn't there. I don't like you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Tomorrow afternoon there might be a round of golf.
Yeah.
Late afternoon if you want to join.
When
just skip out of work a little early. I know how hard you're working these days. You tell me.
Actually, tomorrow's my stay-at-home day with the kids.
Oh well, then you might have to join us.
Depends on when and where.
Me and my boy, Tom Jenkins.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, old Daddy J. I think
Which side of town are you gonna be on?
North side, my side.
I consider you west, but okay.
Well, okay, west side. We'll go with that.
All right. We'll figure it out.
Sussex Village Park.
Oh, I haven't been to Sussex in probably 8 years.
You won't even recognize it. I drive by there. I haven't played there in a year or two.
Like it doesn't look like a park anymore?
They are undergoing complete redesign. There's a playground right in the middle of the park that never used to be there. They're completely redesigning the entire course and the park. That was a course that me and another buddy worked on, and it had installed.
Is it still 18 holes?
2001, and now it's going through a complete master plan redesign. It is, as of right now, I think it's still 18 holes, but I believe it's going to ultimately get trimmed to 9.
That's what I thought I heard.
Think. So, for anyone that happens to care or is listening, I will likely be out at Gray Fox again this weekend. Maybe on Saturday. I was out there last weekend helping people get all the best discs at all the best prices in your hands for that true consistent line that holds whatever line you put on it. I have those discs available, and they go super straight and super far, because that's the number one thing people always ask when they walk up and I'm selling discs at the park is, I'm just looking for something that's going to go like perfectly straight and not like really fade or fall off to the left or right.
Good luck. Here's a leopard.
Here's a firebird.
Here's a firebird.
if it doesn't go straight, you're not throwing it right. It's not my fault.
Yeah, you clearly just need to work harder.
Yeah, here's a Raptor. Here's a Stiletto. I got what you need. And if those don't work, I will offer you 10% off your next purchase of any additional disc after that one.
See that?
This should work.
See that big first number? That means that's the distance. That means how straight and far it will go.
So, but I will be out there.
That's the Heiser number.
We're gonna see a lot of people out there playing Gray Fox and Silver Fox on the south side. And
well, maybe I'll come out there because I don't know if I've got anything going on this weekend.
I'm gonna be hustling some frisbees.
I bet.
Do you have to go? Yeah, all of mine go right into the basket, Corey. Those are the best ones. We also sell those. You're not gonna get those anywhere else.
You're not gonna hear it from any other place.
You only get those right here. So make sure you share this.
You should give away a free conspiracy with every disc.
I'm sure I could come up with a few.
All right.
All right, we're going to call it, guys. We appreciate all of you guys joining us for our randomness here tonight. We, of course, one more time have to thank Dynamite, along with Disc Golf Nerd, and CCDG's very own Ian Anderson for joining us during the regular show. Can't say much for Johnny, but for myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V, we'll see you on Thursday night for game night, or if you're listening to this late, you missed game night, and we'll see you on the following Tuesday night. We appreciate all of you. We love our Patreon subscribers even more. How can we not? We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.